Good morning, 5 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Welcome to a wet Wednesday. The rain has already begun falling in the Nashville area.
It's not very heavy rainfall, but it's definitely enough to cause some headaches, and this rain continues right through the afternoon in that first alert forecast. We are staying in the 50s for today, so you will need all the wet weather gear, raincoat, rain boots, umbrella, and don't forget the long pants. It will stay chilly all day today.
Don't forget those long pants. Channel 4 Stefano DiPietro there. More on the forecast to come. Well, if you're keeping score, this is day 29 of the federal government shutdown. Yesterday, air traffic controllers missed their first paychecks. This one spoke to Channel 4.
I'm going to work right now and I'm thinking about how do I pay my rent? Rent's due in a few days. How do I put food on the table? How do I put, gas in my car just to show up to work? And those are levels of safety that are being reduced in the system and the flying public doesn't deserve.
Thousands have called out sick. It's causing flight delays across the country. In Virginia, a civil trial underway over the shooting of a first-grade teacher by one of her students. This happened a few years ago. ABC's Sophie Flay reports.
Nearly 3 years after Virginia teacher Abby Zwerner was shot by her 6-year-old student, her $40 million lawsuit against the Newport News Public Schools has made it to trial. Officials say the 6-year-old intentionally shot Zwerner during her first-grade class. Zwerner's lawyers argue the school's assistant principal at the time, Ebony Parker, failed to act after being told multiple times that day that the boy had a gun. Zwerner said she needed multiple surgeries after the shooting and lost full use of her hand.
Now, the boy's mother served time in prison for felony child neglect. She's been ordered to have no contact with that boy until he's 18. That boy is being raised now by relatives. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Wall Street hit a second day of records. The S&P 500 index rising 0.2%. It's set to surpass 7,000 for the first time ever. The Dow Jones rose 162 points. NASDAQ Composite jumped 0.8%. Now, today is the first day of a 2-day Federal Reserve meeting. Investors are fully expecting a quarter-point rate cut at the conclusion of that meeting tomorrow. And they're also expecting another rate cut in December. They'll be looking for what Chairman Jerome Powell has to say in his comments following tomorrow's meeting. Now, right now, stock futures, not really that much changed. We've got Dow futures, they're down 128 right now. NASDAQ futures plus 73. S&P futures are plus 9. That's the latest news. Stick around for traffic. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Now, I'm not seeing any accidents this morning, but plenty of delays. And that could be because of the rain. 24 both directions. Very slow this morning in the Laverne area. Also 65 through Franklin and Brentwood. That's also very slow. 840 heading through, looks like both directions. It is very slow this morning. So you may need some extra time as you head out the door because the roads are pretty wet. Be careful this morning as you travel. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. I don't know about you, Joan. I am wearing long pants.
Well, I'm glad because Stefano told you you need to wear long pants.
He told us long pants and
galoshes.
And galoshes.
Yeah.
And I believe Sam is also wearing long pants, although I don't traditionally check to see if Sam is wearing pants every single morning.
Sam, are you wearing
Why are you looking
pants?
at my waist, Dan?
I don't want to look at your waist. I'm just asking, you wearing long pants, yes or no? Give me a yes or no.
Always.
Okay, good. So we're all wearing long pants. Stefano would be happy.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. It's going to rain all day, Joan? Is that what it
He
is?
says, yeah, it's going to rain off and on all day. Heavy
Okay.
at times.
All right, very good. So roadways are going to be slick. Do you know where it is especially slick? Then I'm going to get down to business. Do you know where the roadways are especially slick and like during the fall? Underneath all those leaves.
Yeah.
So if you're like, we have where I live, Nonneville Road, there is like a hairpin curve. I call it Dead Dan curve. And
Don't say that.
I didn't know. That's what I call it, Dead Dan curve. And so I have been known on occasion to go a little fast on Dead Dan curve. And so one time it was raining, or it had just been raining, and it was during the fall. All these leaves had fallen down onto the roadway there at Dead Dan curve. And so I actually slid out a little bit there on Dead Dan curve. Now,
This morning you did?
No, this was
Okay.
this was a while ago.
Oh,
This was, I
okay.
think, last year at about the same time. And so it is just a reminder that if you're driving down the streets of your neighborhood or whatever, realize that if you got a bunch of leaves down there, it can be especially slick or slippery, or as we like to say on Nashville's Morning News, slickery.
Slickery. It's a new word. Somebody call Webster's.
Put a hashtag on it. Democrats are suing the Trump administration over SNAP benefits. Now, this is the latest on the shutdown. You heard Joan say we are in day, 29, you said, Joan?
29.
So remember the USDA, the agency in charge of those benefits, they directed the states essentially to withhold the benefits because the money is not there. Now, we've already had, now are we up to 13 votes now, Joan?
Yeah, because they voted yesterday. And again, the Democrats turned it down.
Are they even in the Senate chamber, the Democrats? Are they even bothering to show up at this point?
That's a good question. I didn't watch the proceedings, but
Because I saw a very empty-looking chamber.
Yeah.
It's almost like, John Thune, Senate Majority Leader, got to go in there and just, gavel in and go through the process of taking a vote. But if nobody's there, then
sometimes they process in, like they just come in, give their vote, and walk back out again. It's not stand around and do anything.
Everybody knows what's going to happen.
Right.
But anyway, the reason why the Republicans did that, and basically telling the states the money's not there, is because the funds, the SNAP benefits, which, of course, as everybody knows, on November 1st, which is going to be Saturday, those SNAP benefits, the food stamps and all that, not going to be available, right? So people are freaking out because this is going to be the first time that these SNAP benefits for folks that are on, food stamps and all that kind of stuff, not going to have them available. And so the funds need congressional appropriation. Remember, the government, of course, is shut down. Congress isn't there to appropriate said benefits or the money. So that's the problem. And if the Democrats would just do what they're supposed to do, well, then guess what would happen? They could do everything they need to do to get the government running, including appropriate that money. Brooke Rollins. Now, Brooke Rollins is the lady in charge of the USDA. Essentially, she is in charge of those SNAP benefits. And she was on Fox News, and she says, listen, here's the deal. The Democrats can scream all they want. The money's not there.
100% unequivocally, USDA does not have the $9.2 billion that it would require. There's not just pots of $9.2 billion sitting around. And what's particularly rich about New York saying that, or California, or any of these other blue states that have filed the lawsuit that say, oh no, we're going to go, you guys, USDA, go find the money, is it's their very friends, partners, colleagues, Democrat elected officials that continue to vote over and over again to keep the government closed. Again, shame on them. I cannot begin to understand what they're thinking. Even their own union, right? Even their own federal government employee union, I don't know the exact name, is urging their own Democratic leaders to open the government back up.
Now that was a big deal. Remember we talked about that yesterday? Where we literally had the unions. I think they're based in Washington, D.C., Federal Employee Union, and even they are saying, look, Chuck, Democrats, open the government back up because the union knows what I know and what you know, and that is that this is looking really bad for the Democrats. Coming up, I've got some audio from Harry Enton, who is punctuating my point. Because right now, you ask the American people, who's at fault for this shutdown? And CNN, again, is blaming the Democrats. And the GOP right now, they're looking really good. Yes, the American people, how the GOP doing? You know, the GOP in Congress, how are they doing? And they are up big time, according to CNN.
Listen, Chuck Schumer's getting paid. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is getting paid, but our air traffic controllers not getting paid. Our food stamp recipients are not going to get their benefit beginning Saturday. Our law enforcement, those that are keeping us safe, not getting paid. It's just, it's unbelievable. And I've never seen anything like this. It's surely they're going to change their mind and vote to open any day now.
I don't know. You think they're going to vote to open up the government any day now?
No, because Orange Man bad.
Orange Man bad. You know, here's my question. Do you really believe that Chuck Schumer is keeping the government closed because he is afraid that he is going to be primaried by AOC? I think that that is legit. I do wonder is there any such thing, by the way, as a moderate Democrat anymore? I don't even know. Is there a moderate Democrat in the Senate? I don't know if there is, but I'm curious as to, okay, Fetterman doesn't count. He's basically an independent.
Yeah.
But other than Fetterman, there's a couple. There's 3 Democrats that are voting in with the Republicans to open up the government. And there are people that are saying, we are going to primary John Fetterman, right? That's what they're saying. They're going to primary John Fetterman. But I'm wondering if behind closed doors, if there is anybody within the radical portion of the Democrat Party within the Senate, which, by the way, I believe is all of them except for 3, because only 3, including Fetterman, have decided that they are going to vote to reopen the government. So you've got, Klobuchar, you've got Pocahontas, you've got, I don't know, whoever they are, all the Senate Democrats. And they're basically, I'm wondering if they're realizing now, you know what? Maybe we've taken this a step too far. Now, I like yesterday, by the way, this Brooke Rollins. Oh, one more thing, real quick. Remember Marsha Blackburn co-sponsored that bill to ensure that SNAP would get funded. It's called the Keep SNAP Funded Act, which would simply fund SNAP all by itself. You've got Marsha Blackburn, Senator, you've got Josh Hawley and other Republicans who are trying to push this through. So far, it is just sitting in the Appropriations Committee. So we'll have to see ultimately what happens with that. Yesterday, though, Brooke Rollins, I like what she said. You know what she said? She said, we had a Republican come in and fund the military. Remember that whole thing? Where is George Soros when you need him?
Listen, $9.2 billion, Boris. I don't want to speak on behalf of my boss, but if George Soros wants to step up and write a $9.2 billion check to keep those benefits moving for this for the month of November, I am guessing that that would definitely be on the table. I mean, this is such an incredible American that kept those soldiers paid, the $130 million.
Yep. You know who that was, by the way? Have you heard who that was, Joan? The one that paid for the military? Guy by the name of Timothy Mellon.
So is he related to anybody with Mellon Bank?
I don't know.
Let's see.
Sounds like a Googleable moment. But while we Google that, let's also find out what's happening on the very wet roadways on WTN.
I'm multitasking. So we have no problems as far as accidents go on the roadways. But of course, you've got wet roadways and you've got ponding on the roads because occasionally the rain is heavy. So delays I'm seeing on 24 this morning, especially in the eastbound lanes approaching Murfreesboro. It's pretty slow this morning. It's slow going on 65 as well. 40 also starting to slow down. And 65 heading in from the north is slow going as well as you make your way into the Goodlettsville area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. As far as the weather goes, it is going to rain, you said, Joan, off and on all day today. What do we got for a high? Is it
like a high of 55,
Yeah,
feeling
55.
like 48.
High of 55?
Feeling like 48.
Thank goodness I listened to Stefano DiPietro and I wore my long pants. Thank goodness.
I have the answer.
Yes, Timothy Mellon. Is he part of the Mellon Bank familia?
He is the grandson of Andrew Mellon and an heir to the Mellon banking fortune.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to try to cancel Mellon Bank because he has the audacity to,
I think
fund the
they've
military?
already got it going on. They're already ready to do it.
I hope they have not actually done that.
Yeah.
Oh, these Democrats are so sinister. But you know what I've always said, Joan? Once you lose Jake Tapper from CNN, you've lost America. So he's got a New Mexico congresswoman, a woman by the name of Melanie Salazar. He's got her on his program there on CNN. I think CNN, Joan, is turning because you've got Harry Enton, who did a whole thing on how the American people are looking at the Democrats as the fault for the shutdown. Now, I know that other polling is going to perhaps tell you different things, but you've got Harry Enton, again, on CNN. I've got that audio for you coming up. But Jake Tapper, he's got this congresswoman, Democrat, on, Melanie Salazar, and he is all over her for not voting to reopen the government. Listen to this, because he does. I mean, good for Jake Tapper. He pushes back.
Should the Democratic senators from New Mexico, your home state, vote to open the government so that these SNAP funds are not at risk?
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children with money that they already have appropriated.
I'm not applauding their
taxes.
by
The White House.
Well,
this is a choice by the White House.
This
they
is
are
also,
choosing
Congresswoman,
to
this
cut
is
off
also a
food
choice
assistance.
by Senate Democrats
No,
to not
it is
vote to
not.
open the government. Yes, it is. I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it because they want Medicaid funds restored. They're doing it because they want Obamacare premiums to be extended past the end of the year. I understand the reasoning.
Sir, let me just be clear. The money for contingency plans is sitting there. That is why the states are suing. The White House is withholding funds from
2 to 3
children
weeks worth
to
of
have
SNAP funds.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it may not be a big deal to you, but let me
It is
tell
a
you
big
that
deal to
for
me.
the
So first of all, again, I played you the audio. Brooke Rollins is saying that is fake news. That money has not been appropriated by Congress. So they'll have to work all that out if they can actually do that. And Republicans are actually trying to get that legislation. Some Republicans are trying to get that legislation pushed through to be able to have those SNAP benefits available on November 1st. And again, I don't know where it stands right now. Maybe I'll try to get the senator on the phone. But you know, this Melanie Stansbury, you hear the frustration with Jake Tapper. I mean, she is trying to feed him a BS sandwich, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to let you sit here and lie to me and blow smoke while I know that you're lying about what is going on with this money." The Democrats have shut down the government All the Republicans want to do is continue the conversation, continue the negotiation, and they've shut it down with this, lack of desire or willingness to sign off on this continuing resolution.
Grandparents, for grandparents
It is a big deal
that
to me.
literally are feeding their children.
My point is that it's a short-term solution.
In those accounts.
It's
It
a
doesn't
short-term.
matter. At the end of the day, people need to be able to feed their families, and Saturday is when those funds
If you
run
feel
out.
so
and
strongly,
we are fighting to
Congresswoman,
get
why
that
not ask
funding.
the Senate Democrats from New Mexico to vote to open the government so that the SNAP funds...
Sir, I am here in the House of Representatives. It is shut down. I am fighting to get the government reopened.
Oh, she's such a putz. Sir, I am in the hallways of the House of Representatives. Yeah, and you voted against the CR. That's number one. And number two, it is well known and well documented that it is your party, it is the Democrats that have decided to shut down the government. I mean, it's really not that hard. But I like when she said, sir.
The House of Representatives, it is shut down. I am fighting to get the government reopened. I am fighting to get funding put back into SNAP that is already existent, and I am fighting for the American people. I am here. But show me a single Republican that is here. Not a single one is here to make sure that Americans are fed on Saturday. That is why I am here.
That is so disingenuous. I mean, dare I say a lie? John Thune has been there. Mike Johnson has been there. Whole bunch of Republicans have just been walking around trying to figure out why they can't convince the Democrats to reopen the government.
Democratic Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury from New Mexico.
Yeah.
Should the
Jake just kind of gave up there at the end. Anyway, so here's the thing. CNN does have polling, and I think that the Democrats are really trying to, I think they are starting to panic. And so I'm gonna play that audio from Harry Enton with his usual flair, by the way, talking about how the American people are looking at the Democrats and, they're frustrated with the fact that the government is still shut down and all these folks are not going to get their SNAP benefits. And the American people, they're looking at the Democrats. Super text line is open, by the way, 615-737-9986. By the way, inquiring minds want to know, Joan. Did I actually pick up the phone and call that listener that I offended so horribly yesterday?
Yeah, I wanted to know too.
Okay, well, you know what?
You're going to tease to the next break.
That's exactly what I'm going to do, Joan.
I knew it.
I'm going to tease to the next break, which is at, the next break after this coming break. The next.
Just give us a time.
Because I'm going to have I'm at about 5:35.
Talking Christmas break?
No. We'll talk about it at 5:35. As to whether or not, if you missed the 8 o'clock, 8:35 crisscross handoff, I was struggling with whether or not I should actually reach out to a listener that I horribly offended. And I when somebody sends me a very emotional email, I actually noticed that. And I wanted to, I was struggling whether or not I should actually call that person, personally.
I think the moral of the story here is if you want to get Dan's attention, all you have to do is emote.
Emoting is always good. If you want to, well, there's other things like chocolate, coffee.
Okay.
Anything sea salt. You want to get my attention? Anything sea salt. Now, if you combine the two, sea salt chocolate, I am there any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
This has gone horribly off the rails.
Has it?
Yeah.
All right, well then you know what, Joan? I blame you. Why don't you then tell us what is coming up in the news at probably 5:32 now as we.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Joan.
All right. So we'll tell you why traffic may be halted near BNA today. Also, part of that NBA gambling scandal, listen to this, X-ray poker tables and some special glasses.
Yes, the contacts.
Crazy
stuff.
stuff.
Oh, man, this is such a great story.
Stories coming up here at 5:32 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
528, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I think the masses, Joan, I think because it's such a rainy day, I think that they've decided to sleep in today. I had usually by the time the 528, 529 hits, I've got like dozens of text messages. I think I may have said something to offend the masses because I got one text message.
I see
this morning.
What
did I say? Usually I get a lot of people that are saying hello and good morning and all that. So
could there be something wrong with the text line?
Yes, there very well could be something wrong with the text line because, Lord help us, the cable is once again out in the studio.
Oh, I had that yesterday.
It's out in there?
It's out in here.
I've got red, green, and blue blotches on my TV.
Why can't we get do we not pay for the cable? I don't know what are we like?
Did someone just climb off the building and patch into the nearest telephone pole?
I think what it is they've got like a hanger or something, a coat hanger, and it's up in the sky, and they're
old school antenna.
Old school antenna. I think that's what they're trying to do.
It's bunny ears.
The bunny ears.
Yep.
Somebody extend out the bunny ears because I don't have cable in my studio, and sadly it seems to happen all the time. Anyway, so.
Here's the super text talk line, 615-737-9986. Please, somebody blink and let us know that you're out there.
Yeah, see, 7670 said that he sent a couple earlier. So I think there may have been a problem with it. But now thank you, friends. Now I just need the cable TV to work. So, Sam, if you could figure out how to, the problem is it needs to be plugged, unplugged and plugged back in, I think. And I can't, of course, reach it. So, Sam, if you could do that, that would be great. Also coming up, you're not going to believe, you're going to love this audio, Joan. You're not going to believe the audio that I'm about to play for you, courtesy of our friends at Libs of TikTok.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, wait till you hear this. It is juicy and delicious. It's coming up next on WTN.
Good morning. Right now it's 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Rainy and cold today. That's the weather story. Channel 4 Stefano DiPietro telling us we're in the 50s this morning.
Those temperatures are not going to get much better, so you will definitely need to keep the jacket handy all day today. In addition to the umbrella, we have rain off and on right through this afternoon. It may come down a little heavy at times. No severe weather threat is a concern for us, though.
Also, he wants you to wear pants. Now, here's the good news. Halloween on Friday is going to be a dry day and a dry evening, so good for trick-or-treaters. In the news this morning, we learned yesterday about a new construction project at Nashville International Airport. They're going to build a new terminal to help meet the needs of the growing population here. Construction begins in November, but the prep work begins today. So WSMV4's Alexandria Adams tells us between 9 and 11 o'clock this morning, they'll be doing blasting work to clear the site for that new terminal.
And that's going to be happening daily until November 21st. Outbound lanes to I-40, those are going to shift to one lane during those specific times.
And crews may even stop traffic periodically, so best to leave for the airport early if you're headed that way. The start of a rule change that would have allowed college athletes to gamble on pro sports is being delayed. That move, the latest fallout from the gambling scandal in the NBA. ABC's Perry Rossum has news on that as well.
New details emerge about the gambling scandal that rocked the NBA last week. The alleged supplier of the technology used to rig mafia-backed poker games linked to a prominent NBA coach and former player pleaded not guilty. The technology included X-ray poker tables and special glasses that can read pre-marked cards.
ESPN also saying that the Miami Heat's Terry Rozier, one of those arrested last week, was allegedly facing an $8 million tax lien from the IRS in 2023. That was at the same time that he's accused of manipulating his performance as part of that gambling scheme. That is the latest news. Traffic is coming up. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. There is an accident reported now in Murfreesboro. This is on 24, the eastbound lanes past I-840. That's exit 74. Watch yourself there. Slow going both directions on 24 this morning as that rain comes down. 65 through Franklin and Brentwood, also pretty slow. 40, both directions, also looking very slow this morning. So you may need some extra time heading into work. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. And yes, the Super Text line is now working. We got a lot of nice people saying good morning. So good morning.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. All right. So real quickly, no, I did not call the listener that I had horribly offended yesterday.
Good.
Everybody was, you, Murphy, and Chris Hand, y'all said, oh, don't call the person. And I totally understand what you folks are thinking. I totally understand what everybody's thinking, which is, we live, unfortunately, talk show hosts live to offend people, unfortunately. Like you can't, as a talk show host, you're going to offend people. I mean, unfortunately, that is just who we are. And that's part of our job, I guess, is if we're doing it right, not everybody's going to be happy. And every day, I like to consider myself doing my job correctly. And so every day we offend people and people don't like what we say. So I just decided, all right, you know what? As much as I care about my listeners and I consider each and every one of you my friends, I also can't be upset when somebody's upset with me. Even if it's somebody that I'm like, I just want to, make sure that you're okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just let it go. I'd let it go. And so I don't know if that person is listening or not. And
Nobody's singing "Let It Go, Let It Go."
I was waiting for waiting for Sam to start singing "Let It Go, Let It Go" because Sam is always singing in my ear. Which, by the way, have I told you, Sam? I actually find that a little distracting.
Hey, I'm traumatized by that song, so I would not regurgitate PTSD onto others.
All right, real quick. So, libs of TikTok.
Yes.
Do you remember a while back, and I forget even what the story was, but there was this story about how the Biden administration was utilizing TikTokers and social media influencers to spread their message. And they actually had scripts.
Yeah. Yes.
So I want you to listen to this. Now, there's some curse words in here, so I need to be careful. But if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you have a bearded individual on the left, and you've got a woman on the right wearing glasses. If you listen close...
Skeptic from the beginning, but I think we're about to find out that the Democratic shutdown strategy was genius because the Washington Post just broke some news.
A bombshell.
Enrollment isn't available.
Do you see how that... I mean, they're literally reading, Joan and Sam, the same script.
Yeah.
It is crazy. So now the question is, who is paying these people? Like if you watch and they're side by side, maybe I will repost that, which I'm going to do that right now. Actually, follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. But who's paying these TikTok influencers to literally read a script? And you know what the other part of this is? If you need a script to try to tell a story, well, then obviously you don't really know the story all that well. Do you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine how easy your life would be if you woke up in the morning and you had some notes from the DNC and then all you had to do was recite it into the camera?
Yeah.
I mean, how great would that be if you are so inclined?
That's what Harry Sissons does.
What do you mean? Expand on that. What do you mean?
He was caught a couple months back. Him and another influencer, Aaron Piranhas, were reading the exact same script over something else. and, trying to call out the right and the Republicans and everything. They get these scripts sent to them from someone, I would assume the DNC at this point as well, and they're told to push it. And then it builds their ego up, which is how, when you reported the other day with that clip of, no Democrats ever called Trump a Nazi, and then he was confronted with the evidence, he had a literal brain twitch and could not comprehend what he was being told.
Yep. I mean, that's the thing. And these folks, like, if the Republicans sent me a script and were like, hey, we'll give you money if you read this, I would never in a million years do that. Now, I may agree with the Republicans on a bunch of stuff, but if they were like, here, read this script. No, I'm not going to do that. And what self-respecting person does do that? I mean, this is a thing, I don't know, do Republicans do this? Like, do Republican influencers actually read scripts? I mean, Sam, you're on more than I am, and I don't know about Joan, but I don't know if there's Republicans that actually read a script like this. This story, by the way, these two libs, do you know that they actually started the video with "holy shh"? They did.
Both of them?
Yes, that was actually in the script.
So I've got that audio of Aaron, Piranhas, and Harry, if you want it real quick, just to see how identical this stuff is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kamala Harris to be prosecuted and thrown in jail. In a new statement on Truth Social, Donald Trump said, I'm looking at the large amount of money owed by the Democrats after the presidential election, and the fact that they admit to paying probably illegally $11 million to singer Beyonce for endorsement.
So, that is...
It's scary.
Propaganda.
Yeah.
Well, it's what it is, propaganda.
Yeah, but it is of the... And this is not me calling them... fascist Nazis, but it is of the exact same bread of propaganda as what the German government distributed in the 40s. Exact same scripts. Everybody said the same talking points.
That's what people... I used to have this hate listener that every day... What was the guy's name? What was Hitler's press guy? I can't remember now. But a guy used to text me all the time. I mean, he would email me and then he would text me all the time about Hitler's...
Otto Dietrich.
Okay, whatever. So that's not the guy I'm thinking. I'm thinking about a guy named Goebbels or Gables or something like
Joseph
that.
Goebbels.
Oh, yes. So guy used to say that Trump had his minions and his press people, and they were like Hitler's propaganda people, which is crazy when you think about it, because when you look at Trump and you look at the fact that there's a lot of Republicans that actually disagree with him, this is where the whole no kings things, kind of comes into play as well. But my goodness, do you remember it was, I want to say a couple of years ago, Joan, when Biden was in office, and they had, it was like dozens of members of the media, and they were all reading the same script. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, oh my gosh! So you're gonna say that Donald Trump and his administration are reading talking points or whatever it is, but look at the actual members of the media that are reading a script. And I forget exactly what it was, whether it was Joe Biden, as sharp as a tack, whatever it was. I don't remember now, but oh my goodness, they were all literally in unison, spouting the same talking points, and these were not political hacks or people from an administration. These were members of the media. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. And so, they have the audacity. These people on the left have the audacity to say, "Oh, Donald Trump's a king. Donald Trump's a king." It boggles my mind, and I know I say this a lot, but it boggles my mind the lack of intellect when it comes to their arguments. The lack of honesty when it comes to their arguments, the lack of genuine interest in actually finding a solution to the problems at hand. They don't have any of those things. They're not coming, it's like I said the other day, they're not coming to the table with ideas, the Democrats. They simply don't. I like the whole No Kings thing, where we had all these people with their stupid little signs on their stupid little cardboard boxes. And I was asking the question, what solutions do you bring to the table?
Somebody sent on the super text line, Rick sent a great meme. It said, last week, no kings. This week, send me some food, king.
Yeah, no kings except a foreign-born judge in Illinois that's ordering one of the ICE commanders to report his every waking move to her.
Well, the thing is when you look at what the Democrats are doing and what the Democrats are bringing to the table, it isn't much. And that's why they're shutting down the government, because they actually don't have anything else, and they don't have anything but chaos. I think for the Democrats, their chief negotiation ploy is chaos and shutting down the government. And the problem that they have is that and I'll play the audio coming up after the news at 6, but if you look at what the American people's perception is of who is causing this government shutdown, it's the Democrats. And when you look at what they stand for, and I mean, I know we all say this, but they stand for the celebration of abortion. Like the Democrat Party, as I often say, the Democrat Party is a death cult. They have this lust for abortion. They rejoiced at the murder of Charlie Kirk. They absolutely love these soft on crime policies that literally lead to murder and mayhem in the streets of the cities that they run. I mean, there's no other way to look at them other than as a death cult. And I don't say that lightly. I truly don't. But somebody please prove me wrong. I don't think anyone can. When you look at it, and that's only 3 of the points that I've made in the past. I think I've made some others in the past as well. So I think for the Democrats, I think, what does it say? What do they? The jig is up? Is that what they say? Is it the jig is up or the gig is up? I don't remember.
The jig is up.
The jig is up?
The jig is up. The news is out. They finally found me.
What is a jig exactly? Do we know? Because trust me when I say, I know what it means when they say in radio, the gig is up. Joan and I know that. We talked about getting fired yesterday. Anyway, so yeah, there you go.
The jig is up.
The jig is up.
Scheme or deception is revealed or foiled.
Okay. Well, then the jig is up.
That's from Oxford.
I was quoting Styx.
The band?
Renegade.
Renegade?
Yeah, the jig is up. The news is out. They finally found me. A renegade.
Opening line of Renegade. Look at you. You know what, Joan? This is Sam kissing my ever-loving arse. Because I actually like Kiss a lot. Not Kiss. Styx. Kiss I could,
You gonna see them when they come to town next year?
Styx?
Mm-hmm.
Nah. No. They let go of the original lead singer of Styx. And I'm not a huge fan of the current sound. I like the classic sound. Best Styx song ever. Do you know what it is? What do you think? Very, very quickly.
I'm going with Renegade.
You going with Renegade?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I like Renegade. Okay. What do you think, Dan?
Mr. Roboto.
Oh, okay.
That song gave me nightmares.
See, Sam is laughing because Mr. Roboto is universally known as one of the worst rock and roll songs ever.
I mean, I think the actual music structure in it, they tried to do the Queen thing, right? They tried to have a rock opera.
Yeah.
But the music video was shown to me when I was like 5, and I had nightmares. It ruined the song for me.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
I like the Best of Times.
Best of Times is that whole album is fantastic.
Yes.
But Mr. Roboto, and also the other one that I like that people commonly say is one of the worst songs ever of all time, is by Jefferson Starship, We Built This City. I love that song too. Apparently I like all the music that people universally say sucks.
Well, even all the bad songs from that era are still better than 90% of today's music.
Ooh. Them's fighting words. Okay. Hey, Joan, do you know when I realized that I was old? Hey, lady, Joan.
Yeah.
Do you know when I realized that I was old?
When did you?
Is when I realized that I did not know any of the songs in the top 40.
Yeah.
And I was only about 26, 27.
Oh.
That's bad.
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible.
There was some great songs in the top 40 30 years ago.
I'm sure there were. 30 years ago, I was 27. There you go. 30 years ago, I was 27. And I didn't know any of the music.
You have to stop and think about that. I just wanted to take note of that.
Let's see. 0330 says Crystal Ball. Well, look up. Okay, real quick. Look up the top 40 from 30 years ago, Sam.
Already did.
All right. Tell me some of the songs. Maybe I do know some.
Number 1, Gangsta's Paradise, Coolio, featuring LV.
Can't imagine why I don't know that song.
Waterfalls by TLC.
Okay, now, in fairness to me, Amy loves that song, and she has force-fed me that song. Next.
Creep, which I'm pretty sure was popularized by Radiohead.
Nope, don't know it.
I'm a creep. No?
Keep going.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Kiss from a Rose by Seal.
Okay.
On Bended Knee, Boys to Men. Another Night, Real McCoy. Fantasy, Mariah Carey. Take a Bow, Madonna. Don't Take It Personal. Just One of Them Days, Monica. This Is How We Do It, Montel Jordan. I Know, Dion Ferris. Water Runs Dry, Boys to Men. Freak Like Me, Adina Howard. Run Around, Blues Traveler.
I like Run Around.
Yeah.
It took, like 15 to finally get to a song that I know?
Yeah. That was, we were hitting peak R&B and hip hop in 95.
By the way, Styx is Tommy Shaw. You know that he lives here in Nashville.
So many former rockers.
He does. He lives in Nashville. So, I would love to get him on sometime, but I don't think that I'd be able to. But it'd be great to interview Tommy Shaw from Styx. I could say, hey, Tommy, why did you fire Dennis DeYoung, the original lead singer of... I don't think he'll come on after I said that.
I'm about to say, that'll end in a well Dan.
Oh, can you imagine being well danned by Tommy Shaw?
Just start collecting famous well dans.
Oh, my God, that'd be awesome. Actually, I would love that. Anyway, moving right along. 5:53. Coming up, I've got all that audio from Harry Enton. How do the American people feel about the Republicans these days? It's if you're a Democrat, if you're a hate listener, then you're going to cry. Coming up. I'm just telling you. Joan's got the news at 6. Joan.
Yeah, we are following Hurricane Melissa's movements today as it crosses now Cuba, and evidence that a couple of Obama judges are teaming up together to go against the Trump administration. I'll have that for you coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I can't wait for this whole thing to get to the. There you go. 5:58 Nashville's Morning News. I want to play this piece of audio. 5:58 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up after the news at 6, we are going to go over some polling numbers regarding the Democrats and where they stand. By the way, at 6:30, Jeremy Finley is going to join us from WSMV, and we're going to talk about this alleged quota system where law enforcement here in the state of Tennessee, they were mandated to hit a certain quota regarding DUI drivers or alleged DUI drivers. And this is a follow-up to a story that I spoke with Jeremy about, I think about a month ago, where you had a whole bunch of people that said, listen, I wasn't drunk. They pulled me over. They said that I was drunk, and it took months for the test to come in. Turns out I was not drunk, and the test proved it. And now these people, their lives are ruined. And Jeremy Finley doing some great reporting for WSMV. We're going to talk to him about the latest. Were there actually quotas within law enforcement in the state of Tennessee regarding drunk driving? We'll talk about that with him and a whole lot more. Very busy morning. It all continues right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. Now 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Just add a little water, and we've got a mess on the roads now. Slow everywhere you go this morning, and now an accident. Talbot's Corner on 65 southbound at I-24 exit 86. The left lane is blocked off by it. You're going to find yourself slow going anyway you're headed into the city so far this morning. In the news, southwestern Jamaica took a direct hit from Hurricane Melissa. Many areas of that island are still cut off by flooding, and the number of deaths now at 7 is expected to rise.
Jamaica's prime minister declaring the entire island a disaster area. Most of the island left without power. Only about 15,000 Jamaicans hunkering down in shelters. Most of the population reluctant to leave their homes. Hotels using ballrooms and auditoriums to keep tourists and staff safe. Disaster response teams in Miami gathering food, water, and generators to send once conditions improve. Royal Caribbean promising a ship to help transport aid.
ABC's Lionel Moisey reporting there. In Cuba, Melissa arrived as a Category 3, causing severe flooding and extensive damage to homes, hospitals, and schools. Score another one for Maryland man. Yesterday, an Obama-appointed judge in Maryland ordered Salvadoran illegal immigrant Kilmar Abrego Garcia to remain in the U.S. through November so he can attend a court hearing here in Nashville. One judge helping another here. The question in Nashville here, did the federal government bring charges against Abrego Garcia as an act of retaliation? Well, now separately, Judge Waverly Crenshaw, he's the judge here in Tennessee, also an Obama appointee, scolded DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and Attorney General Pam Bondi for continuing to talk about his case in public. He ordered them to keep their comments to themselves and to tell their employees to do the same. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
The Federal Reserve today is widely expected to cut interest rates for the second time this year. But the government shutdown has the Fed operating largely in the dark and missing several key economic reports that normally go into the decision. Stock futures were holding steady overnight as investors await the Fed's decision. On Tuesday, the Dow Jones, the Standard & Poor's, and the Nasdaq Composite all closed at new records, the Nasdaq surging ahead 0.8%. Japan's Nikkei 225 likewise hit a record high overnight, surpassing 51,000 for the first time. Investors in Tokyo were encouraged by U.S.-Japanese trade talks and expectations for an interest rate cut here in the United States. Twix is already looking to the next holiday, launching what it calls a Hallowmas Pack, a portmanteau for Christmas and Halloween. It includes bars inspired by both holidays, one with a green cookie, the other shaped like a snowman. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Stock futures on the plus side. Dow futures up 59. NASDAQ futures gaining 101. And the S&P futures are plus 15 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, so we are expecting the rain to continue all through the day today and temps in the 50s. Really no severe flooding is expected. However, it's really causing some delays on the roads this morning. So you'll find in Talbot's Corner on 65 southbound at I-24 downtown exit 86. That's a tractor trailer involved in a crash there, and it takes out the left lane. Berry Hill 65 northbound at Armory Drive, exit 79. That's a crash. A car went off the road and down in the ditch. That's where it sits right now, and the right shoulder is blocked off. Emergency crews on the scene. Now you have delays everywhere. Every way that you can get into the city this morning is slow. Slow going for most of the morning commute, so take your time this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.606 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends, and welcome on in to a wet and rainy Wednesday. Joan, you said that people need to take their time this morning.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they have a choice, do they?
Pretty much.
Like if they're stuck on 24 coming into town, it's like, yeah, I got no choice but to take my time, Joan. I'm looking at a bunch of brake lights.
Yeah, but, people in that situation sometimes get a little...
persnickety?
Yeah, and angry behind the wheel and try to, get around the accidents. Just chill. Like, honestly, just
Chillax.
listen to Dan in the morning.
Sure, that's what they need to do is listen to me.
Absolutely.
We got traffic like every 10 minutes on this show.
Right, and news every half hour.
Sure, and I ramble in between. All right, real quick. Don't forget Jeremy Finley from WSMV. He's going to join us at 6:35 about this alleged quota system within Tennessee law enforcement regarding drunk driving. So was there the quota system where officers were required to arrest a certain amount of people every single year for drunk driving? Incredible reporting by Jeremy Finley. That is coming up at 6:35 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. I do have some great audio as well from Harry Enton, and in talking about who the American people trust when it comes to running the government based on what we have seen over the past couple of weeks with this shutdown. I do like, of course, Senator John Kennedy out of the great state of Louisiana. He said this about Chuck Schumer, and I'm leading with this audio for a reason, but this is Senator Kennedy.
In the American people's opinion, Senator Schumer he's a wet match in a dark cave. He polls right up there with clubbing baby seals. He's got a 30% approval rating, a 60% disapproval rating, and 10% of folks polled just didn't want to pause their video games to answer. It's not working. The American people may not read Aristotle every day, but they get it. This is not a policy shutdown. This is a political shutdown. And I keep waiting for my Democratic colleagues to come to their senses.
Well, they're not coming to their senses. As a matter of fact, the government is still shut down as you wake up on this Wednesday morning. The shutdown does continue. And I don't know. People are saying that now that the SNAP benefits are going to be expiring and there's not going to be any food stamps coming up here on November 1st, that the Democrats are going to cave. I think the Democrats feel right now like they are just in their shutting down of the government. But make no mistake, it is the Democrats that are shutting down the government, and I think that they feel justified in doing so. But most people that I've spoken to will tell you who they might be independent, they might lean right, but what they'll tell you is that the Democrats, they are flailing under Donald Trump, and they're failing under Donald Trump as well. They don't really know what to do. I mean, the No Kings protest was a great example of that. And so Harry Enton, he has run the numbers where they're talking about, okay, so how is this, number one, going to impact the midterm elections? And number two, who do the American people blame for this shutdown? And this is kind of an ongoing narrative that is going on behind the scenes in political circles, and also, of course, playing itself out on CNN and talk shows like this one. So here is Harry Enton, and really he is shattering the hopes and dreams of Democrats all across the country.
One thing that might end a shutdown is political pain if parties start to feel that it's hurting them. So let's talk about that, starting with Republicans. How has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown.
All right, so GOP overall, since the shutdown, up 2 points. Overall, Republicans up 2 points. GOP in Congress, up 5.
When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give an electorally speaking when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, listen. He's right. And even the rank and file Democrats, I believe, have their limits. Now, remember that, again, left-leaning federal employees union out of Washington, D.C., chastised their own party, the Democrats, and told them to get back to work, to reopen the government for a number of different reasons. Number one, it's the right thing to do because if they want to negotiate, then the government needs to be open. That's number one. Number two, and Donald Trump has said, if they want to reopen the government, if the Democrats want to reopen the government, then absolutely we will reopen the government, but they've got to come back to the table. So that's number one. Number two, I think that the union is realizing that, okay, so you're going to have millions of people across the country without their SNAP benefits, without their food stamps. And that's going to be a bad look for the Democrats. And that's why you've got the left-leaning employees union, federal employees union out of D.C. saying, get back to the table. And it does make you wonder if the brand the Democrats have been selling is finally catching up to them. And I want you to think about this. The GOP is up 2 overall. Since the shutdown, they're up 5. Is it that the Republicans have been all that great, or, which I believe it is, we are, but whatever, or is it that the Democrats have been so awful? Celebrating a man's assassination, the ridiculous, nonsensical No Kings protests in furry outfits, by the way, and carrying around signs that say 8647 and MAGA equals Nazi. So at some point, I mean, the Democrats, I think that they've jumped the shark because there isn't anything substantive that they have going on. That is their brand, a bunch of psychos celebrating death in furry outfits. I mean, it's no wonder that their numbers are down and Republicans are up. Now, listen, though, this is the most important part of this audio, where he talks about independence. Yes, independence. And which way are they leaning? This is Harry Enton on CNN. This is really interesting.
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's 2 groups that it's so important to keep an eye on. All right, changing the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents. It's up 8 points as well.
So the GOP is up 12. Independents, and again, not to belabor the point, you folks know this. Independence is where oftentimes elections are won and lost. And they tend to be, in my opinion, independents need to, generally speaking, are free thinkers. And so the free thinkers, the independents are looking at, the behavior of the Democrats and they're like, yeah, this isn't working for me. Got a lot more straight ahead. It is 6:15, time to check the roads on WTN. Cooler today. Rain continues off and on. There may be some ponding on streets and the highways. High of 55 today. Be careful, and appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So playing some audio from Harry Enton and the brain trust over there at CNN, because they're reporting that right now, with all of the chaos that is going on, it is the Republicans that look really good, not only, of course, to the base, the Republican base, but also to independents.
So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because something could rally the base but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point?
Yeah. I mean, listen, he is right. And so now the question becomes, because listen, the Republicans in the Senate, first of all, the Republicans in the House passed the continuing resolution to reopen the government. The Democrats in the Senate have voted now, I believe it's 13 times to reopen the government, and the Democrats simply refuse. And so they got to be, let's be honest, the Democrats have to be crapping Twinkies right now, because they're watching these numbers. They're listening to these numbers. You would think that they would stand up, pay attention, but the worse things get, the more radical they become. And remember that up 8 points with independents, that is huge. Now, the question becomes, according to CNN, to me it is clear these numbers are good for Republicans, but what's happening with the Democrats, right? How do people feel about the Democrats? How are they doing? Last week, they weren't doing as well. How about now? Here's an update from Harry Enton.
And Democrats, of course, they have their eyes on the midterm elections. Yeah, we have elections 1 week from today, but what Democrats in Congress are mostly focused on are 1 year and 1 week from today from the midterm. So how do Democrats, how are they positioned right now?
Yeah, so, I mean, look, the generic congressional ballot, which traditionally Democrats have done really well on, and if you look at this point back when Trump was president the first time around, Democrats are up 11 points. Look at where it is now. Democrats are ahead, but they're actually only up 3 points.
So how bad does it have to be for the Democrats that 2 years ago they were up 11? And I know that some of this is inside baseball, and I totally get that. But, I mean, this matters because what happens in the midterm elections, that really will define what happens for the next 2 years for the Trump administration. So up 11 2 years ago. Now they're up, but they're only up by 3. That is a big problem for the Democrats.
This is, in fact, the worst position Democrats have been on in a generic ballot at this point in midterm when there was a Republican president in the last 20 years. And this is no different from pre-shutdown. So Republicans aren't losing on this metric either. They become more popular, and they're actually in a pretty good position for them historically when it comes to the generic congressional ballot.
This is a concerning number for Democrats, would you say, in Congress?
This is a concerning number for Democrats because it's considerably worse than they traditionally do in midterm elections when there's a Republican president.
There you go. Because as you folks know, because you're smart, if you've got a Republican in the Oval Office and you've got, a House of Representatives and Senate that is run by the Republicans, then midterm election comes around and the opposing party sometimes takes control. And so if right now you've got, Trump leading, obviously he is in the White House, you've got Republicans that have the majority in the House and the Senate, well, if we are able to retain the House and the Senate with our majorities, then the next 2 years after the midterm elections, Donald Trump and the Republicans will still have some battles. Obviously, we know what's going on right now. But I think that that'll be good for Trump because if the House ends up being run by the Democrats, it's going to be nothing but lawsuits, right? Lawsuits and impeachment and doing everything they can to stop Donald Trump, and all progress will stop. That is what is going to happen if the Democrats end up getting into the House in the midterm elections. Now, we are a long, and I mean a long way away, so we'll have to see ultimately what happens. But, so far, who is the Who is the shutdown hurting? Is it going to be the Democrats or the Republicans? Right now, it is the Democrats and, of course, the people that don't get their SNAP benefits coming up on November 1st if they don't vote to either start those SNAP benefits again through like a single piece of legislation like Senator Marsha Blackburn wants to do, or if they don't reopen the government. All right, it is 6:20. Joan's got the news coming up. Joan.
Yeah, a Tennessee death row inmate's efforts to stop his execution, and it has happened again. A car plows into a house. We've got details on where this happened yesterday coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here for Window Nation. Listen, end of October, heading into November, you know that really cold weather is coming. It is the return of chilly air, and you don't want that chilly air seeping into your home. And it will if you've got those old, stuck, or cracked windows. Welcome into my friends at Window Nation. They can help you eliminate those annoying drafts once and for all with top quality replacement windows from Window Nation. Now, they've got some of the best replacement windows out there. Their installation crews, they finish the job in a day or less. And right now, they've got a great deal going on for the month of October. When you buy 2 windows, you are going to get 2 windows absolutely free. There's no limit as to how many windows you replace, and your total price includes 1-day installation. That's right, Window Nation. Also, make no payments for 2 years, no monthly payments, no down payment, and no interest until 2027. That is a big deal. Again, no interest until 2027. Great news for the holidays coming up. They are here to help you, Window Nation. Find them online, windownation.com, and don't forget that great deal. WindowNation.com. The phone number, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, WindowNation.com. Hey, if you're thinking about vision correction surgery, call the people that I trusted, Vision for Life and Dr. Jeff Horn. These folks are amazing, and right now they are celebrating 20 years of 2020. Listen, since 2005, Dr. Jeff Horn has provided thousands of patients, including me, 20/20 or better vision. Dr. Horn's expertise and dedication have made him a leader in cataract, LASIK, and other vision correction surgeries. Dr. Horn's commitment to providing the best possible patient experience, in addition to the most advanced technologies in vision correction, have made Vision for Life and Dr. Horn one of the premier vision correction centers in the world. I recommend them highly. Call them, help them celebrate 20 years of providing 20/20 vision by scheduling your consultation today. As always, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020. Find them online anytime, visionforlife.com.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
628, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Is it still raining out there, guys? It looks like it's still raining in some parts of Middle Tennessee.
Suffice it to say, it's going to rain all day.
Is it going to rain all day?
A little drizzly.
Do you know what? I have a problem at the house, just real quick. Jeremy Finley, by the way, from WSMV, joining us at about 6:36 because the accusation is that law enforcement across Tennessee, they have a quota. A certain number of drunk drivers, they are required, the allegation goes, they are required to arrest, and perhaps that could be leading to false arrests. And this has been an ongoing story that we've been speaking to Jeremy Finley about. He'll give us an update coming up at 6:35, 6:36. So I've got the swimming pool cover on the pool in my backyard.
Oh, right.
So now I've got like a pool on top of my pool. So I've got this water, I don't know what you call it, but you put it in the water and it sucks out the water. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The problem is now my hose is so kinked that my hose is now, because of the kinks, my hose has now sprung a leak. So I got home yesterday. This is my life. So I got home yesterday and my hose that is hooked up to the thing that is supposed to be taking the water out is actually leaking water back into the pool. So I can't win for losing. So today, I'm going to Home Depot or Lowe's. I'm not sure which one. They're both the same to me. And I'm going to be getting a new hose.
Are you kink-shaming your hose?
I am absolutely kink-shaming my hose. That hose is going into the trash can once I get done with it. All right. It is 6:29, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, also coming up at 7 o'clock, about 7:05, 7:06, if he actually wakes up, Brian Wilson will be.
You calling him old?
Last week he skipped on us.
He totally slept through the thing last week. So 2 weeks before that, he was out on vacation, whatever it was. Then last week, I'm going to be there. And then he overslept. And now I'm hoping that he wakes up. That's all I'm saying. If you know Brian, why don't you call him right now and make sure that he's awake. Anyway, 6:30 on WTN.
Good morning. It is 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We have some accidents this morning. One is in Talbot's Corner. It's on 65 southbound at I-24. The crash there taking out the left lane, and the roads are slow heading into Nashville. No matter which way you go this morning, just plan on extra time to commute in. In the news for the 13th time yesterday, Democrats voted against ending the government shutdown, meaning 42 million American SNAP benefits will officially run out on Saturday. Overnight, however, President Trump said a fix is on the way.
President Trump vowing to find a solution to help fund the federal nutrition program, SNAP. More than 24 states and Washington, D.C. have now sued the administration after it said it could not legally extend SNAP benefits during the shutdown. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are scrambling to fund the program before it lapses this weekend. 42 million people rely on the program to feed their families.
That's ABC's Nicole D'Antonio. Tennessee death row inmate Harold Nichols has filed a lawsuit over the state's preferred method of execution. It's a single lethal shot. He is due to be executed in December. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
But he has 2 weeks to choose his method of execution. His attorneys have now requested records on the state's lethal injection protocol, but they say the Department of Corrections has denied that.
Now, Nichols was convicted of raping and murdering a 21-year-old Karen Pulley in Hamilton County in 1988. He was also convicted in a string of rapes of other women. An SUV crashed into the front of a Murfreesboro home yesterday, landing on the front porch and causing lots of damage to that home and the vehicle. This happened on River Rock Boulevard. Emergency responders took one person to the hospital, and then they used materials at the scene to shore up the home to prevent it from collapsing. The cause of the crash under investigation. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:32. It is spooky season, but don't be tricked. Let the home experts at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling treat your family right. We won't ghost you. Join the Beehive Club for free. Just carve a pumpkin of Buzz the Bee, post it on social media, and tag Busy Bee. That's all you got to do. Show off your carving skills and get rewarded. Now, if you need HVAC service, schedule your free HVAC maintenance and get a free dryer vent cleaning. That is a $229 value. If you have plumbing problems, we will flush your water heater for free with any plumbing repair. That is, of course, a treat for your pipes. And if you're ready for a new HVAC system, they've got a scary good deal for you. A free 10-year parts and 5-year labor warranty, a $750 value, complete with any system installed. Don't let your home be haunted. Call Busy Bee today, where service is sweet and savings are scary good. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. Find them online anytime, busybeehvac.com.
Okay, once again, that crash in Talbot's Corner is on 65 southbound at I-24 exit. You've got a tractor trailer involved in a crash, and it takes out the left lane. Antioch, Burkett Road near Ben Hill Drive. That's a crash involving some injuries. Now, if you're traveling 40 in the eastbound lanes in West Nashville, just before I-440, watch it. There's a crash there that takes out the right shoulder. Berry Hill on 65 northbound at Armory Drive, exit 79. There's a car off the road there, down into a ditch, and the right shoulder is blocked off. A one-vehicle crash in Lebanon. It's on I-840 westbound near Central Pike. And just one more, 24 eastbound in Murfreesboro at I-840. There is an accident, and it takes out the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.636, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. Want to welcome into the program Jeremy Finley. And Jeremy, I apologize. Apparently you and I got our signals crossed, and you thought I said 7:30, which I very well may have. So, folks, this is Jeremy Finley, straight out of bed, no coffee. Jeremy, how are you?
What a trooper.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. No problem at all. I'm generally up anyway this early, so it's all good. And I don't have coffee yet, but I think my brain is working.
Okay, very good. The operative word there is think. But Jeremy, appreciate you joining us. All right, so you are doing some incredible investigative reporting over there at WSMV, and I've had you on I think once before talking about how, and this happened to I think I told you this. I'm not sure if I told you this on the air or off the air, Jeremy, but a friend of mine got wrapped up into all of this. A lady named Candace.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lady named Candace. Candace. She was. You interviewed her, and she's she's been a friend of mine for years, and she got. I mean, she's like everybody else that you've been reporting on. She was accused of drunk driving. She was arrested for drunk driving, and her life, she went through living hell, and so. Yeah. Then the tests come back months later, and it turns out that she was, stone cold sober. And so the question then becomes, why are so many people across Tennessee being busted for drunk driving only to find that they were actually sober, but not before their lives are completely ruined. So do me a favor, Jeremy, spend about a minute and a half or so just recapping where we have been, and then we'll go through this audio and these former THP troopers who are apparently acting like whistleblowers.
Yeah, and so for context for your listeners, what we've been able to confirm in our reporting is that roughly 600 plus Tennesseans have been charged with DUI and were completely sober over about a 7-year period. So we know that more than 600 Tennesseans have experienced this, and that data is actually somewhat old at this point. We don't know what's happened over the last 2 years. And so essentially what we found is that this isn't just a one-off case that happens, from time to time, that this is something that is like you said, happening to a number of people. And so what we have found, we have told these people stories, we have shown the impact to their lives. People have lost their jobs. They have lost, in some really troubling cases, custody of their children because they had children with them at the time when they were pulled over. And so it's an extremely troubling situation because of the impact that this is having on people's lives.
And Jeremy, I got to ask, is there one particular agency? Because I'm naming the agencies that I know of. You've got, Metro Cops, you've got, Tennessee Highway Patrol, you've got sheriff's offices. So is all of this coming from one particular agency, or are there multiple?
See, Dan, this is the troubling thing. It's happening throughout Middle Tennessee, throughout Tennessee. It is happening across the country. It is not just one police agency. We have interviewed people who have been, arrested by police departments all across the state. So essentially the bottom line is it's happening everywhere. And I think that has been one of the most troubling things for us, because if it was just one police agency, it would be easier for us to say, okay, let's zero in on this. Now, I will say that in our reporting, we have started to see a lot of these people are being arrested by state troopers. We have been able to find that. And so even though there have been a number of people that have been arrested by state troopers, it is pervasive. It's happening, with police departments, again, all across the state.
And my question would be, then we're going to get to this audio. I have the audio. I'm going to ask you to set it up from Captain Patrick Turner out of Chattanooga. But what's in it for the state or the police department? Why are they busting people for drunk driving when they ultimately turn out not to be drunk? Are they getting money through fines, or what's in it for them?
Sir, so that's been our, what we've been looking for throughout all of this. And listen, I always want to say this and put this in this context as well. We all want drunk drivers off the road, right? I mean, there is no question that this is exactly what we want done. When nobody wants a drunk driver on the road, that's always been something that has been celebrated. But I think what our reporting has shown is that there is a flaw in the system, whether it is the way the training is done, whether it is the way that people, whether or not they have disabilities, if there are these other circumstances that are leading to all these people being arrested. But your question is, what's in it for police? So I think what we have found is that ultimately there is a pressure, there is a expectation that you are going to pull over as many drunk drivers as possible. And remember, when you get pulled over for a DUI, the test is completely subjective. Yes, they've been trained. Yes, the police officers have been taught how to do this test, but it is their opinion. It is what they think. It's not a 100%, hey, we know this for 100% certainty that you are drunk. And so I think that is part of it. I think that there is a pressure to to get drunk drivers off the road. There's a lot of grant money that's tied up in this. That's part of this reporting that we're working on. But I think that there is an expectation of, you're working a certain shift, there are drunk drivers in the road, go out and get them, and you're going to, like you said, hear some of this audio that we've obtained that lays out this pressure for state troopers, at least.
So this is Captain Patrick Turner. He is out of Chattanooga, and this is audio that aired last night on WSMV. And I guess this is, again, audio from a meeting where he was telling the officers, this is what you need to do as far as drunk drivers go.
Arrest every DUI that you can get your hands on. I'm passing on the message of what the command staff wants. What does hard work look like? Well, it could look like arresting 100 plus DUIs a year. If they're DUI, I want you to load the jail full of them. You turn in 33 DUIs per year and 1.7 contacts, you're going to get spanked.
So, I mean, it sounds like with that kind of pressure, then I guess follow the bouncing ball, that would lead to officers maybe making more arrests than they should, and maybe arresting people that are not drunk.
So in our reporting, we've been able to speak with troopers on the record and off the record. And on the record, and again, also off the record, they're all saying the same thing, that there is such this insistence to pull over people who are suspected of drunk driving that it is leading to essentially a quota system. The THP officially will say there is no quota system. They do not have a quota system. But then you listen to the audio that we've obtained, and it clearly states, listen, you're going to have to make 100 DUI arrests a year per trooper.
Yeah.
And so, these troopers are saying, look, there is this expectation, and you've got to meet that certain number, or as you heard the captain say, you're going to get spanked. And so I have some trooper sources that are off the record that came to me and said, look, you need to understand that this is unrealistic for us sometimes. Sometimes if we're working in really rural areas, there may be no drivers at all on a midnight shift. And the expectation is you're going to get out there and you're going to pull somebody over. So when you see a car and they haven't dimmed their headlights, you'll pull them over and you'll put them through the test. And so I think that quota system is what these troopers saying is part of the problem.
You speak to a couple of, I guess, their former THP officers, Ashley Smith and Adam Potts. What are their stories?
Yeah, so it's interesting. They're both out of District 8, which is a section of Middle Tennessee. Both of them agreed to go on the record, former troopers, and they both pretty much say what we've been talking about, is that there is this quota system in place that allows them, or that encourages them to pull over as many drunk drivers as possible. Both of them acknowledge that they have arrested sober people for DUI. They acknowledge that, yes, this is something that has happened. Ashley Smith in particular, we were able to confirm and speak with the person that she pulled over who was sober for a DUI. Both of these people, former THP troopers, both of them fired by the THP for full transparency, and we reported this in our reporting. Both of them fired by the THP for different violations, and that's something that we acknowledged with them, and we asked them. We said, look, are you just disgruntled former employees that want to come out and get a jab at the THP? And I think what Ashley Smith said was interesting, is she said, look, I would have blown the whistle on this essentially earlier, but it would have been career suicide. So essentially these troopers are saying, like, yeah, this is exactly what we're encountering. We're encountering.
Let me ask you this. Did they know at the time, did the officers know at the time that these people were sober and they charged them anyway?
So I think what I can speak specifically. I asked Adam Potts the question, and he said, "Yeah, I'm sure I have. I'm sure that I have." And Ashley, he was sure that he had pulled over sober drivers for a DUI. Ashley Smith's case, she knew exactly the driver. She knew exactly the case, and she said that she was going through the motions with a DUI with an individual. With her supervisor, who was a sergeant, and she did what's called the nystagmus test. And that nystagmus test essentially shows involuntary eye movement that indicates that someone's drunk. Well, she said that she observed this on the man, and she said he doesn't have that. I'm not seeing that. And the sergeant said, no, it's right there. You're missing it. She said, I don't agree with that. But what am I supposed to say to my sergeant? Like, you're wrong, my supervising sergeant. So they went to the local jail. The guy blew into what's called an intoximeter, which is a device that tests how much alcohol is in your system. And he blew a 0. But they still arrested him because, as many of your listeners probably know, an intoximeter or a breathalyzer will tell how much alcohol is in your system, but that doesn't tell you what kind of drugs are in your system. So in order to do that, you got to do a blood test. And to do that, it takes months for that to come back. So essentially, this young man who was charged with this, they're like, all right, well, we got to do a blood test. And, we're still going to charge you with DUI because we think there's something wrong with you. And essentially came back. He was completely sober. Charges dropped. And Ashley Smith said, I knew all along. But essentially, my sergeant was saying that I think this guy is drunk, and she went along with it.
Any thought that maybe Ashley would go and apologize to the driver whose life she helped to ruin for a time?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because when I talked to her, she said, look, I never knew what happened to this guy. I never knew what happened or whatever. But I have his name. And so I was able actually to track him down. And I said, look, Ashley would like to talk to you. And he said, that's fine. Give her my number. So I did. And she called him and she apologized. And he, accepted that apology and realized that she had, made a mistake and felt badly about it. And so they've actually spoken since then. And so that's it. It's an interesting part of the story, kind of behind the scenes, that's actually happened in this case, that she did apologize to him. And he's kind of gone on with his life and said it was pretty traumatic.
So I guess the question now is, all right, so because when I saw this story, Jeremy Finley joining us from WSMV. When I saw this story, the first thing I thought of was, some sort of a class action lawsuit or something. Like, do these folks have any kind of legal recourse? Because some of these people are out hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And some people, as you mentioned before, they lost custody of their children, they lost jobs and so forth, and they were completely innocent.
Yeah, so that's what we're seeing now. Ever since we started this reporting, we are seeing that people are starting to sue. The reality for these people is they have a year. There's a statute of limitation that they have a year to sue after their arrest. So now that they have found that they can sue, they are starting to sue the police agencies. And it is, I think it's something that nobody really wants to do, right. Because then they've got to hire an attorney to take care of this. But I think it is truly the only way that they can get recourse, because like you said, I mean, a DUI can cost you $10,000. If you're really, going to go through it all, it can cost you a lot of money. And some people don't have that. And so, yeah, we're seeing a lot of cases. The state troopers are being sued in a number of cases. Local police agencies are being sued in a number of cases. So it is happening. I think now that there is more conversation about this in the state, it's happening more often.
I do know, and the last question, I appreciate being with us. Do you know when we might see some, results from those lawsuits, or, maybe some settlements or so forth?
So we've already seen one very small case where an individual was essentially paid out before it went to trial. So we've seen that happen. I think that probably what we're going to see, especially when it comes to state troopers, is that we're going to be really interested to see what the state's attorneys decide to do. Will they pursue this? Will they try to settle this out of court? That's going to be a really interesting part of this to see, is if the state will try to defend its own troopers, the procedures that they're doing, or if they're going to do settlements out of court. That's something that we're going to have to wait and see.
It's crazy because it is so widespread. And so then the question is, okay, so is somebody mandating this, or is this just all these different departments and all these different agencies, sort of doing this on their own? I think for me, the widespread nature of this is just so insidious. And so, Jeremy, will you keep us updated on what happens next?
Absolutely, Dan. I really appreciate you having me on. And, it's been of all the reporting that I've done in my 30-year career, I don't think there's been one that has resonated more than this one with people, because it essentially can happen to anybody. And so, given the importance of this, we'll absolutely stay on it. And I appreciate you having me on this morning.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much, Jeremy Finley. It is 6:53 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I know that I was so engaged in that conversation with Jeremy that I forgot to throw to traffic. So real quick, what is going on with the wet roadways?
Well, first of all, there's traffic everywhere. There are accidents everywhere. Hermitage on Central Pike at Dodson Chapel Road, in Talbot's Corner on 65 southbound at Trinity Lane, on eastbound 40, an accident right at the airport, takes out the right shoulder. If you're on 65 northbound in Berry Hill, watch for an accident at Armory Drive. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Joan.
Yeah.
What's coming up in news?
We'll tell you why flight delays are expected to get worse in the coming days. And there's some stuff going on out at BNA that you're going to want to know about today. It's coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. All right, coming up, Brian Wilson is going to join us for our monthly update. Used to be the weekly update, but now apparently because Brian can't wake up in the morning, it's our monthly update. But anyway, hopefully Brian is up. And we'll have a conversation with him coming up at 7:06 on WTN. Dan Mandis here. Now, if you need to save money on insurance, check out my friends at King and Associates Insurance. So many of my listeners have reached out and let me know that they've been able to save and save big with King and Associates Insurance. Now, one guy that I know, his 16-year-old daughter, 16, got into a car accident, but they still saved him thousands of dollars when the time came for new insurance. You know why? Because at King and Associates Insurance, and I love this about these folks, they know that life happens. And as independent agents, King and Associates Insurance, they can find you the best deal for you and your family. They're going to weed out the non-competitive companies and find the best options for you and keep the communication flowing and flawless. It's outstanding with King and Associates Insurance. Now, they know it's not only about relationships with the best companies that can help you, but also bundling home and auto. King and Associates will fight for the best deal possible to save you money these days when it really does matter. And by the way, that coworker that I was telling you about, he figured out that his old insurance agent was overcharging him for years. So make the switch to King and Associates Insurance. You owe it to yourself to make that phone call, 615-321-8121, 615-321-8121. As always, tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out, tkinginsurance.com.
Good morning, 7 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Too many accidents to mention here at the start of the news this morning. Just know that if you're headed out this morning to work, you're going to need extra time. The roads are a mess. It has been raining, and it's just causing a lot of accidents on the roads. We'll detail that in just a couple of moments. In the meantime, in the news, if you're keeping score, this is day 29 of the federal government shutdown. And yesterday, air traffic controllers missed their first paychecks. This one spoke to Channel 4.
I'm going to work right now and I'm thinking about how do I pay my rent? Rent's due in a few days. How do I put food on the table? How do I put, gas in my car just to show up to work? And those are levels of safety that are being reduced in the system and the flying public doesn't deserve.
Now, thousands have called out sick. It is causing flight delays across the country. A reminder that there are emergency drills taking place today at BNA, so you may see some heavy smoke around the airport. Channel 4's Holly Thompson.
Just know this is a drill. It's all part of the airport's aircraft rescue and firefighting live burn training. It happens every year.
Yeah, this drill takes place starting at 8 o'clock this morning. And now there's also a blasting that'll start taking place at the airport related to construction of a new terminal. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams says at 9 o'clock and at 11 o'clock every morning, they're going to stop traffic for these blasts. Could just be for a couple of minutes, but could also be longer.
The traffic stop leading outbound to I-40, well, that could last about 30 minutes. To avoid traffic impacts between those 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. times on the weekdays, drivers are encouraged to go to and from Terminal Drive by Donaldson Pike.
And by the way, that blasting is going to take place for months. The city of Murfreesboro is working on a safe streets program. They want the public's help in identifying the streets and corners that are of concern to the walking, biking, and driving public. Now, you can add your voice to this conversation by going to murfreesborosafestreets.com. I'll also post a link on my X account. You can find me there at Joan Jones WTN. In Virginia, a civil trial underway now over the shooting of a first grade teacher by one of her students. He was 6 years old. ABC's Sophie Flay reports.
Nearly 3 years after Virginia teacher Abby Zwerner was shot by her 6-year-old student, her $40 million lawsuit against the Newport News Public Schools has made it to trial. Officials say the 6-year-old intentionally shot Zwerner during her first grade class. Zwerner's lawyers argue the school's assistant principal at the time, Ebony Parker, failed to act after being told multiple times that day that the boy had a gun. Zwerner said she needed multiple surgeries after the shooting and lost full use of her hand.
The boy's mother served time in prison for felony child neglect, and she's been ordered to have no contact with him until he's 18. He's being raised now by relatives. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Records on Wall Street yesterday. Looks like we'll add to it. Dow futures plus 77. NASDAQ futures up 118. S&P futures gaining 20. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, here we go. 40 eastbound at Charlotte Pike this morning. You've got an accident. That's exit 201, by the way, in Hillwood. The right shoulder is blocked off by it. We're also hearing that on 40 in the eastbound lanes, if you're traveling near the area of Bradley Parkway, that also is an accident scene this morning. Creve Hall, 65 north at Harding Place. A crash takes out 3 right lanes. That's a mess this morning. 65 south at Trinity Lane in Talbot's Corner. Watch for a crash that takes out the right shoulder. Now, if you're on a 40 eastbound this morning, this is near I-440. The crash takes out the right shoulder. Madison East Old Hickory Boulevard at Maya Drive. Another in Goodlettsville on Long Hollow Parkway at I-65. On 24 in Clarksville, watch before Martin Luther King Parkway this morning. 2 vehicles involved in a crash. It's off into the tree line, and there may be crews out there because of injuries. The right shoulder is blocked off. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and good morning to everyone, including Brian Wilson. Hey, Brian, thanks for waking up this morning for us.
Well, first of all, let me just get this out of the way.
I'm sorry, so sorry.
Apology accepted.
Yeah, well, I'll let Brenda Lee do my speaking for me.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
I wish you could speak for me this morning. It's been a rough one.
Yeah, well, anyway, I do apologize. Look, I take it very seriously. I am one of these people. I'm never late. I'm always, back me up on this, Dan. Traditionally, I'm never late. I'm always early. My dad just drilled that into me when I was a kid. And
sure.
Believe me, I take it seriously. I don't know what happened last week. I was due to be on your show Wednesday, and I just overslept. This has only happened to me one other time in an entire 50-year career.
Yeah.
And I made it the last time. I was literally at my home, and I was supposed to be on the air at 5 a.m. for when I was working in television, morning television in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up 30 minutes before the show was to begin, and I was 25 miles away.
Oh, no.
I made it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I-270 will never be the same, but I made it.
And you got through makeup and the whole thing? Because I know that, Brian, you required
literally,
a lot of makeup.
I was putting makeup on as the intro to the show was going. I mean, as the intro to the show was going, I got sat down, I put on my earpiece, I was smearing makeup on my face, and then boom, I was on the air. I mean, I made it by the skin of my teeth.
Well Brian,
it's a good thing that I did, because my co-anchor said, if he's not here, I'm not going on.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe that? That actually did happen.
That sounds like you had a co-anchor problem. If you listen very closely, Brian, things are a little spooky around here today.
Oh, why is that, Dan?
Well, my TV is out in the studio, so I can't watch any news programs here on the morning show, which bothers me to no end. The Super Talk, the Super Text line is acting a little weird as well, because it's just, without getting into all of these specifics, it's just acting a little bizarre. And it's not the people texting in, it's the actual program. And we were having some problems earlier as well with some technical stuff. So I don't know if it's...
the gremlins in the system today, huh?
It could be, Brian, the gremlins in the system, or the low budget nature of our radio station. It could be. You know who that is? That's actually Atlanta when we ask for more money. Moving right along, speaking of things shutting down, let's talk about the government shutdown.
Yeah, look, I think it may come to a close. I think we're getting close. 13 times was not the charm. The 14th time may be the charm. they're gonna take another vote, and there's a new measure that's sort of floating around, coming from Senator Ron Johnson, not the Speaker of the House, but Ron Johnson, that would perhaps find favor with the Democrats, and we can move off dead center. It's silly. I think the Democrats are getting a little worried about it, and when you look at the polling, as I heard on the program earlier, there's polling that suggests this is really working well for Republicans and not so well for Democrats. So I think they're going to cry uncle. They'll say they fought the good fight. They'll find some way to spin it, but I think we may see this thing come to a close soon.
Is this the kind of thing, Brian, and you spent so many years in Washington, D.C., is this you used the word spin. So is it up to the Republicans to somehow give the Democrats a way out of this?
Well, you have to always give, find something that will work. Politics is the art of the possible. And sometimes it takes a while for people to feel the pressure of what is going on and to respond to it. I think there are a great number. I mean, I tell you where the Democrats are getting most of the noise from. The unions that represent federal workers and government workers. They're really worried about their membership, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the Democrats. And so the Democrats do respond to union pressure, and I think that's probably what will ultimately change this thing.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. One last question on the shutdown. So let's just say that in the next day or two, they are able to get this thing done before people lose their SNAP benefits for November.
Right.
If that happens, if they were able to pull something through before that and people get their benefits, well, then is it basically forgotten by the midterm elections?
I think so. I think people are not paying a great deal of attention to it anyway. Has it impacted anybody that you know? It hasn't impacted my life one whit.
It is impacted, government contractors and those kind of folks, but. You're right. It doesn't impact the vast
majority of
folks.
Americans. They're going, oh, the government's closed. They until it impacts their lives, they don't even notice, really.
Let's talk about the ballroom. Now, I think it's funny, really, really funny, that, and I'm sure you saw that it was Eric Swalwell that said that that's going to be a litmus test as to if you want to be the guy that or the person that is going to be the nominee for the Democrats, you've got to agree on day one to knock down Donald Trump's ballroom your first day in the Oval Office.
This is insane. I mean, I read an article, a really nice article that had gone back and talked about all the administrations who have whined and moaned, and the Democrat, Republican alike, about the fact that they don't have a space that is big enough for state-level events at the White House. They just simply don't. We've sort of outgrown that, and you can't in the East Room. You can't put in more than about 200 people. And, for a big state dinner, you probably want more than 200 people. I think they need that space. They've been whining about it, and Democrats and Republicans alike have been talking about it for years. And it's just because it's Trump, that the Democrats lose their mind. If this had been done during the Obama administration, nobody would have said a word.
Let me ask you, because you spent a lot of time in D.C. Have you ever had the occasion to attend an event in that big tent that they talk about, if they have something there at the White House?
That wasn't used in the years that I was there with Clinton and later with when I was at the White House on a regular basis. No, but I did go to several events in the East Room that were state dinners. As a reporter, they would always send somebody in for the remarks, and I did that a couple of times. So it's a big dog deal, but it is cramped in that room, believe it or not, for a state dinner. It's a big room, but not big enough for what you really need.
So do you think that the Democrats will eventually come to their senses and say, you know what, we are not going to spend taxpayer dollars tearing something down that was free to put up?
Yeah, I can't imagine at the end of the day that they will think that's the right thing to do. I think there would be outrage. I mean, really, honestly, there is nothing particularly historic about what has been torn down thus far. And I think they will, get over it.
Well, the East Wing, home to what they say, these are just sort of like, offices, random offices, and where the First Lady has offices.
If you've ever been to the White House complex as a guest, when reporters come in through the Northwest Gate, but when there's a social event, you have to go through the East entrance, and it basically is an area where you get screened. You walk through. There's some nice offices there. I think there was a library. There was a room that was full of dishes, and stuff like that, dishes and silverware and that kind of stuff. The stuff that you need to put on a ball. But I mean, I didn't find anything particularly, compelling about that particular part of the White House, nor particularly historic. Right?
Yeah, historic. All right, real quick, Brian, it's raining, so we got to check the roadways real quick on Super Talk 99.7. All right, very good. Thank you. As far as your weather for today, cooler, raining off and on all day today. Watch for some ponding on the streets and a lot of backed up traffic as folks head into downtown. Brian Wilson is joining us on Super Talk. All right, Brian, real quick. The Donald Trump, Steve Bannon threw something out there the other day talking to the BBC about how they are working behind the scenes to compel a reason why Donald Trump should be able to run for a third term. Constitution bedarned. What do you think?
Well, I don't think it's going to happen. And even if you listen carefully to the words of Donald Trump on the plane, he said this. Hang on, I want to make sure you hear this because it definitively answers the question. Here's Donald Trump on Air Force One.
If you read it, it's pretty clear. I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad. I've been stupid. Sir. But we have a lot of great people.
I'm not allowed to run, he says.
It's too bad,
pretty
he
clear.
says. Yeah, but and he also said, and this was my whole point, we got J.D. Vance, we got Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
In all the years, Brian, let me ask you this. It might be unfair, but in all your years of covering politics, have you seen a more formidable ticket than a J.D. Vance at the top and Marco Rubio in the vice presidential role?
Listen, I've always been a big fan I've been a long-time fan of Marco Rubio. I think he's an adult. He's serious. I was surprised, having been around him some and have covered him for many years, I was really surprised that people say that Marco Rubio has a tremendous sense of humor because he doesn't really often express it in public. But apparently he's a very likable and a very funny man, and a man who is competent beyond measure. I mean, look at all the different jobs he's holding down, and he's just crushing it. I've always been impressed with the intellect of Marco Rubio. And then you got J.D. Vance, who has, become really quite an important figure in this administration. And I think, Vance and Rubio, and there are about 3 or 4 others on the front bench line who would make great candidates. You could do a lot worse than J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio.
Well, and I made the case a while ago that if you just look at paper, you just look at resumes, Marco Rubio actually makes more sense from a paper standpoint, from a resume standpoint, to be at the top of the ticket.
He's got more foreign policy experience, and because he's on the Foreign Relations Committee in the Senate, and so he understands that stuff. But he's also a serious student. When he got into office, he said he set about to try to learn everything he can learn. And he, there's not many topics that you can throw at Marco Rubio that he doesn't have a pretty good answer for. I think he's a great candidate. I think he would be fantastic. And I think actually from an experience standpoint, might actually have better experience than J.D. Vance.
Yeah, I mean, I think J.D. Vance is so affable and he is so eloquent. And in my opinion, he's very likable. And he is clearly being groomed, if you will, for the presidency. Matter of fact, Donald Trump, you may recall, said one time during a cabinet meeting, now, Marco, you're not going to run for anything in the future, right? I mean, kind of joking as that whole debate was heating up within the conservative movement. All right, real quick, drug boats. And
I'm for it. Let's keep. Yeah. I got a story here that says that They got, what, 4 more?
Yeah, they got 4 more in the last 24 hours, I think.
It's unbelievable. I mean, this has got to be hurting the drug cartels and doing real damage over in Venezuela and places like that. I'm wondering, though, I read a story that I thought was pretty interesting. Why are they not going against the Mexican cartels, which may really be one of the greater problems for us? You know, they're a trading partner. They're a valued trading partner. It would really strain relationships if they took action on land inside Mexico. So I don't know that they want to do that, but they're really having an impact, and I'm for it. I mean, if these are narco-terrorists who are bringing this stuff into our country and to other countries around the world, and I just don't have a problem at all with using the military for it. I think that if we do this in other places around the world, in Yemen and in other places, if we detect a threat to our national security or to our troops, we just take action. We do what needs to be done. Nobody says a word about that. Why all of a sudden is there a problem when they want to go after the narco-terrorists?
Well, it's funny and sad where you have the Democrats and the media and who they side with, right? So they're siding with illegal alien gang members. They're siding with narco-terrorists as well. I mean,
the brilliant thing that Donald Trump has done is he's realized that if you just take common sense approaches to things, and I would say that many of his proposals and his policies are just good common sense. They're the right way to go. But if you take a good policy that's going to resonate well with the American people, and because it has come from Donald Trump, Democrats are automatically going to hate it. I mean, and they keep finding themselves defending really bizarre positions. And I don't know how, it's just not working out well for them. Democrats are in complete free fall. And they're really, if they lose this battle over the budget, what can you point to the Democrats have done in any way that's positive except whine about the very popular proposals that are put forth by the Trump administration?
So and I've only got like a minute left, but how do you, when all this is said and done, and obviously we have to wait to see what happens, but how do you determine who won and who lost in the budget battle?
Well, I think that at the end of the day, if they end up putting back in the money for the illegal aliens who've come to this country for their medical care and stuff like that, I think then you would have to say the Republicans blinked. But if at the end of the day we fund the government, but we don't fund medical care for people who are in this country illegally, I think it's a win for Republicans and a big loss for Democrats.
All right, Brian Wilson, always great to have you on, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday at this time or sooner.
I promise you I'll be here.
Brian, real quick, favorite Halloween candy?
I'm a big fan of the Kit Kat. I'm a big fan of just plain old chocolate Hershey's.
Okay.
But I think Tootsie Rolls.
Okay.
I'm in a Tootsie Roll kick right now.
Okay, very good. And you got big inflatables out there in Watertown?
Not a one.
Not a one.
I haven't put any up, but I'll be standing at the door on Halloween handing out candy. I haven't normally gotten to do that.
Yeah.
Because of the shift that I was working.
Sure, but this time it's on Friday
night. I'm
night.
looking forward to seeing all the kids.
All right, very, very good. And with your height, you could put on a great Frankenstein costume. And
normally that's where I go if I need a costume.
That's exactly.
Although I'm going to a Christmas party and I'm going as Buddy the Elf.
Are you really?
I'll make a great Buddy the Elf, I promise you.
You giving out full-size candy bars? You going miniature?
Not miniature. We're worried about the health of the children in our neighborhood.
You amateur. I'm kidding, Brian. I'm kidding. You'll notice the shocked silence of Brian Wilson.
Yes.
Kidding, Brian. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Did I make him mad?
I think you might have.
Really? Because I called
Good
him an
job.
amateur because he's not giving out full-size candy bars?
Well, all you have to do is send him some Tootsie Rolls, and I think he'll be okay.
Do they have Biggie size, full-size Tootsie Rolls?
They make like a 3-pounder.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Ugh. How do you chew that? Because Tootsie Rolls are I'm not a big Tootsie Roll kind of guy.
Now you're offending Brian again. Good job, Dan.
You know what? He can go back to sleep.
You know what that was?
What?
A milk dud.
Wah, wah.
Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Hey, threats against a couple of local Christian universities. We'll tell you what's happening there coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Listen, I know you're probably going to eat a lot of the kids' Halloween candy. Well, if you want to trim down for the holidays, number one, stop eating the candy. But number two, check out Contours and get one of their classic Belly Buster specials for only $99. Be one of the first 10 callers right now. Get that Belly Buster special for $99. This is red light technology. It is not only incredibly unique, it is cutting edge, it is effective. Just ask all the people that have come to Contours from across Middle Tennessee to check out Contours. Find them on their website. They've got a whole video, many videos actually, explaining what red light technology is and how these Belly Buster specials can help you. That website is contoursllc.com. Remember, first 10 callers right now get that Belly Buster special for the holidays at a huge discount. 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. First 10 callers right now, you're going to get that Belly Buster special for just $99. That red light technology, it is amazing. Again, cutting edge, and a lot of people have checked this out. Find them online, contoursllc.com. Contours, all you've got to lose is inches. Dan Mandis here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I love these folks. You know why? Because they helped solve my chronic back and neck pain. They can do the same thing for you. And right now, they've got a great special going on. You can call it the Big Daddy Trump special, as a matter of fact. At the Wellness Institute of Nashville, $12 gets you a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. So if you've got, like I did, back or neck pain, sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness or weakness in the arms and legs, fingers or toes, they can help you with their state-of-the-art non-surgical spinal decompression. That means, my friends, no surgery, no spinal injections, and no painkillers. And don't forget the special going on right now, $12 for a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, a well-explained diagnosis, and yes, that first treatment as well, all for just $12. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009. The website, painisbad.com.
Good morning. It is 7:31, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There are accidents galore this morning because of the rain, and there's delays everywhere as well this morning. It will take you extra time to get in, that's for sure. We'll check on traffic and the weather right after the news. A Nashville woman is facing 2 felony threat charges after comments that she made against 2 Christian universities over how they handled student grief over the assassination of Charlie Kirk. News 2's Jaxie Pigeon said one of the woman's posts threatened to blow up Lipscomb University.
Has since been identified as 25-year-old Carissa Hamlet. Officials say Hamlet's statement caused fear among Lipscomb Academy and Lipscomb University's staff and students.
Now, if convicted on both charges, Hamlet faces 15 years in prison. We learned yesterday about a new airport construction project. They're building a new terminal at BNA to help meet the needs of the growing population here. Construction begins in November, but the prep work begins today. So WSMV4's Alexandria Adams tells us between 9 and 11 o'clock this morning, they'll be doing blasting work to clear the site for that new terminal.
And that's going to be happening daily until November 21st. Outbound lanes to I-40, those are going to shift to 1 lane during those specific times.
And crews may stop traffic periodically as well, so best to leave for the airport early if you are headed that way. The start of a rule change that would have allowed college athletes to gamble on pro sports is being delayed now. That move, the latest fallout from the gambling scandal in the NBA. ABC's Perry Russum has news on that.
New details emerge about the gambling scandal that rocked the NBA last week. The alleged supplier of the technology used to rig mafia-backed poker games linked to a prominent NBA coach and former player pleaded not guilty. The technology included X-ray poker tables and special glasses that can read pre-marked cards.
ESPN also saying that Miami Heat's Terry Rozier, one of those arrested last week, was allegedly facing an $8 million tax lien from the IRS in 2023. At the same time, he's accused of manipulating his performance as part of the gambling scheme. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. And Traffic with Joan is coming right up. It is 7:34 on Nashville's Morning News. Guys, listen, if you can feel your energy slipping away, you could have low testosterone. My friends at Synergen X and Low T Center, they can help you. Reach out and take a quick and simple T-test and get back on track with pharmaceutical-grade testosterone. Now, some of these other companies, they compound their testosterone, so you don't even know what you're getting or if it's even going to work. But at Synergen X and Low T Center, they've been helping guys at the work, at the gym, and love. What can they do for you? Find out with a quick trip to the clinic. TRTMVP.com is the website. They are waiting for you. And guys, if you want to do this, you've got to check them out, TRTMVP.com. Now, guys who have done this say it has completely changed their lives, and you can too. Just check them out online. Again, TRTMVP.com. You can get treated at home or at one of their many clinics around town. You can choose, but when it comes to where to go to feel like you again, choose the MVPs of TRT, Synergen X, and Low T Center. Online, that website one more time, it's TRTMVP.com. So the other day, I'm over at a friend's house, and he's pumped to watch football, right? But his setup is a total mess, lagging, buffering, and switching between apps trying to find the game. Now, this dude claimed that he was a big fan, but I feel like I've been fan-fished. If you call yourself a football fan, you've got to have Xfinity. Now, I've got all the best games all in one place, plus enhanced 4K, so it feels like I'm literally in the stadium. So next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. To get started, call them 1-800-XFINITY. That's 1-800-XFINITY. Find them online, xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today. Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming. Remember that number, 1-800-XFINITY. Drop into an Xfinity store today or find them online, xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra, subject to change.
All right, deep breath here. We've got Whites Creek, Bradley Parkway eastbound past Brick Church Pike, a crash blocking the right entrance there. In Hillwood on 40 eastbound at Charlotte Pike, exit 201, the right shoulder taken out by a crash. Also on Tennessee 45 at Maya Drive. This is in Madison. There's an accident reported. Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, westbound past Indian Lake Boulevard, Drakes Creek. There is a crash reported in Hendersonville. We're hearing that there are several accidents all along Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Careful in that area. Southbound on 65 in Franklin at Murfreesboro Road. There is a crash this morning there. The right shoulder remains blocked off by it. The East Nashville area of Main Street at North 8th. There's a crash on 24 westbound in Clarksville. It's two vehicles off the roadway and into a ditch right at Martin Luther King Parkway. And then Creve Hall on 65 northbound, the on-ramp from Harding Place onto that roadway. The on-ramp right lane is blocked off by a crash. Just one more for you. Almaville, 840 eastbound past Almaville Road. Watch for an accident there as well. Very slow all across the board this morning as you're headed in. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.739 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Take it easy, take it slow. Wet roadways all across Middle Tennessee. I want to welcome on into the program Jonathan Fahey, former acting director of ICE under Donald Trump's first administration, and our guest. And Jonathan, I find this whole thing fascinating, and I don't know why. But all over the place, you see these headlines that Border Czar Tom Homan and the head of the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, they are apparently at odds over what's next in this battle against illegal immigration and who to deport. Now, there's also been a big shakeup amongst the leadership there within the Department of Homeland Security. But apparently, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kristi Noem, this is what the media is reporting, so that I want your perspective on this. The media is reporting that Kristi Noem wants to focus more on total number of deportations, whereas Tom Homan, Border Czar, of course, he wants to focus on, the gangbangers and the drug dealers. Have you heard about this? From your insight, tell me what your take is.
Yeah, I've only heard about it just from tracking it on the news, and it is an interesting development, but a lot of it is sort of, what are people saying behind the scenes? But it does seem like the administration wants to at least raise the number of people being deported, particularly in these certain areas where they replace people that were head of field offices. So they want to get the numbers up. I don't think the focus is being taken away from the most serious criminals. They're probably just adding other people. And one thing to keep in mind, CBP and ICE got a whole bunch of new resources. So they're able to really, in essence, do both. And I think one of the things that we're seeing, the most important thing, when you look at these border numbers, I think I was just watching on Fox, like 600,000 have been deported or 500,000, but then 1.2 million people have self-deported.
Yep.
And I think that's the most important number, because if you think about it, that's what we want to have happen, right? That's the easier route. It's easier for the people leaving and also easier for law enforcement. And what that also means is if we are deporting people here illegally, no one's going to, not literally no one, but very few people are going to take the risk to try to get here illegally if they know the result is going to be you're going back home. And under the previous administration, which we've talked about a ton, the rule was if you get here illegally, you're, for all intents and purposes, a U.S. citizen, or often treated much better because you never get defamed by the administration. So I think, a lot of those things are going on, but I think ultimately, they're still going to be going after the most serious criminals. They want, and we're only at this point deporting maybe with the self-deports and the people deported, we're only going to hit about 2 million this year, which is still under what Biden was bringing in illegally, up to 3-4 million a year.
So here's my question then, because that is true. I mean, there have been, Donald Trump promised, I believe, more deportations than we're seeing. But in defense of the president, he's doing the best he can under a mountain of lawsuits and litigation. That's a big part of the issue.
Yeah, it really, everyone is fighting against him, meaning, the mainstream media, the Democrat politicians, all of these local officials are fighting against him. And they would certainly have maybe a leg to stand on the first issue we talked about if they actually cooperated in getting rid of the criminals. But in fact, they stand in the way. You look at, Chicago's the best example, Pritzker and Brandon Johnson. They stand in the way of even getting rid of the most serious criminals, gang members and things like that. They are so full on open borders, and I think they are reflective not of the American people, but of where the Democratic Party is, which is their lesson they learned from that last election was double down on open borders and amnesty, and they've put all of their chips in that, it seems to me.
One of the things, and I read this, where in Chicago, not shocking, the head of the operations there in Chicago, the local, no doubt corrupt Democrat lawmakers in Chicago are demanding that every single day the head of the operation for ICE go to them and report what has happened that day. Have you ever seen that before?
No, this is completely insane. This is this judge out in Illinois that they had this consent decree entered under Joe Biden, which basically, DOJ conceded that ICE had been doing bad things. Really, they just didn't want ICE deporting people. And now it still continues, and this judge essentially wants to run ICE and say what they can and can't do, when they could use things like tear gas. And it's absolutely crazy because, one, she doesn't have the expertise. And when you're on the ground as a law enforcement official, as most people understand, they have to make split-second decisions when their lives are in danger and have to do things based on the best judgment they have, based on what's going on the ground, not based on what some judge wants to be happening. But yeah, it's completely insane. It's complete overreach. It's a major separation of powers issue. And I think where this judge will run it, I think there will be some appeals on this. But the problem with this judge, if ultimately the administration doesn't comply, what she can do is try to hold people in contempt. Problem for the judge is when somebody's held in contempt, it's referred over to the Department of Justice, DOJ, to prosecute the case for contempt, and they could just simply say, we're not doing so, or President Trump could just say, I'm pardoning all of these people, so therefore you can't do anything. And I think this is going to come to a head pretty soon because it's an absolute overreach. It's completely ridiculous.
Jonathan Fahey is our guest, and Jonathan, coming up, this headline, rather alarming. Could ICE have lost, and they have the word lost in air quotes, 3,000 immigrant arrestees in Chicago? We'll talk about that straight ahead. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Yeah, we got plenty of accidents this morning as you're making your way into town. Got a crash out of Broadley Parkway eastbound at the Brick Church Pike exit with the right entrance lane blocked. Crash in Jolton out on I-24 eastbound before Whites Creek Pike. Crash in Williamson County out in Franklin. The on-ramp is partially blocked there on I-65 northbound on the on-ramp from the I-840 exit 59 area. Madison over on Myatt Drive and Old Hickory Boulevard, there is a crash reported. Out in Hendersonville, crash reported with stop-and-go traffic on Highway 31 East, otherwise known as Main Street, and Vietnam Veterans Boulevard westbound past Indian Lake Boulevard, Drakes Creek. Crash down in Rutherford County in Smyrna with the on-ramp partially blocked on I-24 eastbound at the on-ramp from Sam Ridley Parkway. East Nashville, a crash reported at Main Street and North 8th Street. Montgomery County, an accident reported. Both vehicles off into the tree line. Possible injuries with crews responding I-24 westbound past Martin Luther King Parkway. Creve Hall, crash with the on-ramp blocked in the right lane at I-65 northbound from Harding Place. And in Almaville in Williamson County, an accident being reported on both sides of 840, so most likely in the median, reported by THP at I-840 eastbound before Almaville Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Gee, it must be raining. and it is raining badly. I just walked outside, and it's coming down here in downtown Middle Tennessee.
Did you leave your windows down again?
No, I didn't leave my... Thank you, Sam, for bringing that up. Shut up, Joan.
Okay, sorry.
I love hearing Joan in the background mocking me. So, Jonathan, last time it rained really bad here. For the second time in my almost 12 years here at the radio station, massive pouring down rain, and the genius here on the morning show, I left my windows down.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and it took me a long time to not only get it cleaned out, but get the smell out and all that, and whatever.
But you'll never live it down.
I will never live it down.
There you go.
It's funny because I never lived it down the first time, and now the second time, I have even more not to live down. Anyway, Jonathan Fahey. Could ICE have lost 3,000 immigrant arrestees in Chicago 7 weeks ago? Midway Blitz began, and now they're questioning, even as arrests continue, where are these 3,000 people that have supposedly been arrested? They've got attorneys and human rights investigators tracking all of this, and their claim is that the Trump administration doesn't necessarily know where they are. They're even calling this thing quite dire. What do you know about this?
Yeah, I've just started reading, was reading about it recently, so I don't really know that much about it. I don't think they're actually lost if they were detained and arrested, but, there are a lot of people getting arrested, and, I'm sure they're detained in some local facility or ICE detention facility or something like that. I don't think they're literally lost, and I don't think they've been deported or they haven't been deported, but ultimately I don't think they were lost. I also think whenever these stories come out the first time, it's never, you go through like one news cycle and it turns out to be either 100% false or partially false.
Exactly.
So that, I think that's what will happen here, but, it remains to be seen.
All right. So, and this is the way, because you hit it spot on, where it's like, okay, so the Trump administration lost 3,000 arrestees, they say, but then in maybe a week or two after the hysteria dies down, the clarification will be a little, never mind. Meantime, by the way, all these same people that were freaking out about these 3,000 arrestees had no angst about the 100,000 children that the Biden administration lost, according to the New York Times, during the Biden administration. By the way, this sentence says it all. On Monday, they tell NBC Chicago investigative teams the U.S. government officials won't or can't tell them where at least 3,000 arrestees are right now. So we'll keep folks updated on that story. But I think that, right now, the Trump administration, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've got the court cases going on in California, in Oregon, in Illinois. And it's just sort of like, I feel like the Trump administration is having to play whack-a-mole with all of these leftist judges who are trying to prevent ICE from doing their job.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's exactly what these judges are doing. They're using the pretext, and what the people filing these lawsuits are doing is, the pretext of some violation or something else. But their real goal is to keep the illegal aliens in the country. And I think everyone needs to just, keep that in mind. Their goal, as the Democrats, are massive illegal immigration, mass amnesty for everyone here, and that's what they're doing. And these are these are methods to achieve that.
Well, and the reason, of course, being that eventually they want them to vote Democrat, and that's something that we've spoken about for a long time. And of course, we also have a lot of people leaving these cities and leaving these states specifically because of these problems. And Jonathan Fahey, always great to have you on. How can people follow you on X?
On John for Fairfax.
All right, John for Fairfax on X. And if you want to follow me, you can find him and follow Jonathan Fahey. I always see Jonathan on Fox News as well, and I always appreciate his insight here on Nashville's Morning News. Joan's got the news coming up at 8 o'clock. Joan.
Yeah, Dan, coming up here, we'll take a look at what's happening with Hurricane Melissa hitting Jamaica this morning and then also hitting Cuba. We'll track it and see what's happening. And also a story about Maryland man. He scored another victory in court yesterday. We'll tell you what's going on there at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here with a great way to increase the value of your home. How about a bathroom upgrade from my friends at Zentex? Now, this is a great company, and they've got a great deal just for listeners to my show. So if you're thinking about a bathroom upgrade, you've got to listen to me right now. What about converting your bathtub into a walk-in shower? Now, Zentex, they can do that for you. And right now, for listeners to my show, you can get $999 off or 0% interest for 2 years, whatever works best for you. Now, Zentex has won awards for ethics from the Better Business Bureau. And last year, they were voted as one of the best places to work in the construction industry. And don't forget, happy employees mean great customer service. Now, remember that great deal? You can get $999 off or 0% interest for 2 years from my friends at Zentex, whatever works best for you. By the way, you mentioned WTN, you get a free Kohler toilet with your purchase. Find them online anytime and tell them Dan told you to reach out. Zintex, Zentex.com, Zentex.com, Zintex, Zentex.com.
Okay, like we mentioned earlier, lots of accidents out there. The roadways are slick. We are working accidents in Antioch area on Antioch Pike and Harding Place. There's a crash reported out in Jolton. Crash reported at I-24 eastbound before Whites Creek Pike. Capitol View, there's a crash with the Gore Block at I-40 eastbound at the Church Street exit. Just in an accident in the Glencliff area, I-40 westbound at the Spence Lane exit. Out in Williamson County, we have a crash with the on-ramp partially blocked on I-65 northbound from I-840. Also out in Williamson County, it just cleared up. There was the Almaville wreck out there. In Hendersonville, we've got a crash reported stop-and-go traffic from Highway 31 east, Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Smyrna, crash with the on-ramp partially blocked at I-24 eastbound from Sam Ridley Parkway. East Nashville and Davidson County, there's a crash at Main Street and North 8th Street. Clarksville, accident reported. Both vehicles off into the tree line. Possible injuries. Crews responding on I-24 westbound past Martin Luther King Parkway. And that looks like, so far, what's happening. Traffic every 10 minutes.
Is that it? Are you sure there's not more traffic accidents you want to talk about?
There's going to be more.
There's a lot. I mean, and then listen, if you're headed 24, 40, 65, heading into town, going to be willing to bet you're going to hit some brakes.
Absolutely. Taillights all the way into town this morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:59 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Wet and rainy, I think, is the wet and 3 words for the day. Not the word of the day, but the 3 words of the day.
Did you have
wet
to count?
And rainy. Well, I did just because, you know, I'm trying to cut back on the coffee just a little bit.
Right.
And so I'm just, you know, I'm not fully there this morning, like every morning, to be perfectly honest.
I was going to say, we couldn't really tell, Dan.
I was going to say, you could, like, disagree with me, Joan. No, Dan, you sound great. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? I still don't have TV in the studio, as a matter of fact. That's why I'm a little off today.
Yeah, there's a lot that's off today. I've noticed that the super text line is really off.
Super text line is bizarre today.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it, but some of your messages are coming in. Some aren't. So if you want to text in, go ahead. Hopefully I'll be able to read it. But cable's out, and Sam's having some problems with his computer in there. So,
Not
you
me.
know.
News is generating everything we need over here, folks.
I think it's just kind of spooky what's going on.
Yeah.
What's happening. 8 o'clock, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we are looking at a screen filled with accidents this morning on the way into work. Every road headed into Nashville this morning is jammed. There are accidents everywhere. You'll need to schedule some extra time this morning. In the news, southwestern Jamaica took a direct hit from Hurricane Melissa. Many areas of that island still cut off by flooding. The number of deaths is at 7 right now. That is, however, expected to rise.
Jamaica's prime minister declaring the entire island a disaster area. Most of the island left without power. Only about 15,000 Jamaicans hunkering down in shelters. Most of the population reluctant to leave their homes. Hotels using ballrooms and auditoriums to keep tourists and staff safe. Disaster response teams in Miami gathering food, water, and generators to send once conditions improve. Royal Caribbean promising a ship to help transport aid.
That's ABC's Lionel Moisey reporting. In Cuba, Melissa arrived as a Category 3, causing severe flooding and extensive damage there to homes, hospitals, and schools. We'll score another one for Maryland man. Yesterday, an Obama-appointed judge in Maryland ordered Salvadoran illegal immigrant Kilmar Abrego Garcia to remain in the U.S. through November so he can attend a court hearing here in Nashville. So that's one judge helping another judge. The question here in Nashville, did the federal government bring charges against Abrego Garcia as an act of retaliation? Now, separately, the judge Waverly Crenshaw, he's also an Obama appointee, scolded DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and Attorney General Pam Bondi for continuing to talk about Abrego Garcia's criminal case in public. He ordered them to keep their comments to themselves and to tell their employees to do the same. President Trump has landed in South Korea. He was greeted by a band playing YMCA. As he shook hands with officials on the tarmac this morning, he is busy striking trade deals and planning his meeting tomorrow with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Final stop in Asia ahead of his high-stakes meeting with Chinese President Xi. If no deal is reached, the president warned he would slap an additional 100% tariff on Chinese imports by Saturday, a move that would escalate the trade war and raise prices on everything from clothes to electronics. The administration says the potential deal would cover fentanyl and tariffs and include a pledge by China to resume buying American agriculture like soybeans. It would also loosen restrictions on China's sale of rare earth minerals, critical for making smartphones and cars.
That's ABC's Rachel Scott. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We had a great day on Wall Street yesterday, and it appears that we're going to add to those gains. The Dow futures are plus 99 right now. NASDAQ futures gaining 104. S&P futures are up 17 points. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Oh, patience this morning. We're going to need it. Antioch Pike at Harding Place, a crash this morning. One in Joelton on 24 eastbound side before New Hope Road, exit 31. 24 westbound in Antioch at Hickory Hollow Parkway. You've got an accident that takes out the right shoulder. Let's go to 40 here. 40 eastbound in Capitol View at Church Street. There's a crash blocking the Gore. 40 westbound in Glencliff before Spencer Lane, exit 213. Watch for a a crash there. Over to 65, the northbound on-ramp from I-840. A crash takes out part of that ramp this morning. And Hendersonville on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, westbound side, past Indian Lake Boulevard, Drakes Creek Road. A crash there, and it's stop and go. So pretty jammed up on your way to that exit this morning. 24 in the eastbound side in Smyrna. The on-ramp from Sam Ridley Parkway, there's a crash, and that on-ramp, by the way, is blocked off this morning. East Nashville Main Street at North 8th Street, also the scene of a crash. And everywhere you go, even if there's not a crash, there is jammed up traffic this morning. Just plan some extra time on the roads. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.808, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you being here. So this is interesting. There is a guy, I want to go through this out in Perry County, Tennessee. Fascinating story out of Perry County here in Tennessee, where a guy has been jailed for posting a meme. Kind of sort of referencing a school shooting, but not really. You know what I mean? It's sort of, there's some gray area here. So I do want to go through this because there's a number of different things here. Number one, there is freedom of speech. So the guy posted a meme. He is saying it's freedom of speech, but the reality is that if you are making threats, that is actually against the law. So, and certainly here in Tennessee, where they've passed laws against threatening memes or, threats that on social media that are threatening. So the sheriff now in Perry County, they said that this meme that this dude posted was threatening, and the guy's in jail for literally posting a meme. Now, this was a Phil Williams story, and this is the sheriff, a guy by the name of Nick Weems, and this is part of that story. This is video only, folks. Sorry, I should say audio only, folks. Only audio. And here's what the
A
guy
local
said.
judge set Bussardt's bond at $2 million.
He's been here for 35 days.
35 days over a meme.
Well, it was a series of posts, but yes, the one post that he made was the one with Donald Trump that got everybody's attention and was considered threatening.
So the guy who posted it is a guy by the name of Larry Bussardt or Bushart, and he's described as a keyboard warrior, right? Keyboard warrior and a liberal, and he posted a meme, and maybe you've seen this meme. Again, out in Perry County, that has Donald Trump on it, and it says, they have to get over it, and it's in quotes. And it also reads, Donald Trump on the Perry High School shooting one day after, ... Now, here's why context is important. Number one, Donald Trump saying they have to get over it. Well, that is a phrase that is taken completely out of context. But then it says on the Perry High School shooting, there was a Perry High School shooting in Iowa on January 4th of 2024. The meme, again, takes Donald Trump's words out of context, but of course that's what memes do. But this is what this guy, Bussard, did, was he posted it, and the sheriff says people thought that he was talking about Perry County High School here in Tennessee. But the meme is apparently referring to Perry High School in Iowa. So you see where I'm going here? So either people got confused or this guy, Larry Bussardt, my opinion is he knew exactly what he was doing. because you don't just post something and it says, that there is this is what Donald Trump says after a shooting at Perry High School and not make the connection between Perry County High School and what the meme says, which is Perry High School. So I think the people were thinking, and remember, this guy is a liberal. This guy is a liberal keyboard warrior in Perry County, which is, a very conservative county. And so I think we've all dealt with people like this, right? But this guy Bussard, he posted it, and the sheriff does say that people thought he was talking about Perry County High School in Tennessee, like he was threatening essentially to shoot up that school here in the volunteer state, even though the original post was about a shooting in Perry, Iowa. So they come and they arrest this guy for violating the state law. I think it was passed last year that makes it a crime to threaten, got to listen close, to threaten mass violence on school property, on social media, or any communication. And so this guy, he's been in jail. You just heard the Phil Williams report, Channel 5. You just heard he's been in jail for like 35 days.
This is what they charged him with. Okay. Threatening mass violence at a school.
At a school?
It's referring to a school. I have no idea. This is what they've called us for, and I ain't got a clue.
I play on Facebook. I threaten no one. I know you don't give a
Yeah, so the guy says, listen, I wasn't threatening anybody. All I wanted to do was, he's kind of like a crap poster. I can't say shh poster. So this guy's a crap poster, and this is what he does. He posted it, by the way, online during a discussion of Charlie Kirk's murder. So I would say stupid meme, wildly inappropriate, and I do believe that he probably thought that he was being cute when he posted it, ha, Perry High School, just like here in Tennessee. But he posts this at a time when tensions are really high. And by the way, Perry County High School in Tennessee had just received a threat the day before.
Sheriff Weems says some in his community took the reference in the Trump meme to Perry High School to be a threat to shoot up Perry County High School, which had recently had to deal with a threat from a student.
Whenever you come to a Perry County page, okay, that is set up to let people know what's going on in Perry County, and you post this talking about Perry High School shooting.
It doesn't say Perry County High School.
It says Perry High School mass shooting one day after, okay? That led people to believe in our county that he's talking about Perry County High School because it doesn't say Iowa either.
But you also knew this was an existing meme that was already out there on the internet.
Correct.
And so it's clear he's not talking about Perry County High School.
We knew. The public did not know.
So I look at that, and if I'm just a guy on the internet and I do see this meme in a roundabout kind of way talking about a shooting at my kid's school, I can see why people would feel threatened. And I totally get why the cops, obviously, my opinion, obviously would be concerned.
Here's the thing. Whenever you're dealing with something like this and you've got multiple people that is now scared to send their kids to school, we tried to take a different approach and go and speak to this guy and say, hey, look, this is what you're doing.
Yeah, he also, by the way, refused to delete the meme, even though people were concerned. He clearly didn't think he did anything wrong, so he was not going to pull it down.
In your heart, do you think Larry Bouchard was threatening to shoot up Perry County High School?
In my heart, I think Larry Bouchard knew what he was doing once we made contact with him, or once law enforcement made contact with him. And I believe that he knew what he was doing, and in my heart, he violated the law set forth by our legislatures.
So he's been sitting in jail. This guy has been sitting in jail for like 35, 36 days. His bond was set at $2 million, and his attorney is trying to get that knocked down, but his case cannot be heard until December 4th. So a number of things can be true here, but I want to know what you think about this. If you were like on the jury and so forth, what do you think about this? I want to do, we report, you decide. And you tell me if you think this rises to the occasion of an actual threat against a school, and should he actually be in jail? Because a number of things can be true. Number one, maybe there is enough evidence here, if you will, to say that, yeah, people could have thought, and this was a legitimate threat. Or number two, no, this is freedom of speech, period. But here's my big issue, and the phone lines are open at 615-737-9986. Here's my bigger issue. My bigger issue is that they set his bond for $2 million, and when all is said and done, he will have sat in jail for like a couple of months. And I think that is insane for something like this. In Perry County, and listen, no offense to folks in Perry County, but I mean, there's not a lot of people in Perry County. You can't bring in somebody to hear this case so that he can get the bond lowered so that he doesn't spend, 6, 7, 8 weeks, whatever it is, sitting there in a jail cell. I think that's insanity. But I want to know your opinion on this. 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Time to check the roads on Super Talk 99.7.
Yeah, we're still seeing lots of red everywhere out there on the roadways this morning. Still got that crash out in Antioch at Antioch Pike and Harding Place. Crashes all over I-24, east and westbound. One out in Cheatham County and Jolton at New Hope Road. Accident, another one in Antioch on I-24 westbound, reported by Metro. Crash around Capitol View with the left lane block at I-40 eastbound at the Church Creek exit. Glencliff accident out on I-40 westbound before Spence Lane. Franklin out in Williamson County crashed with the on-ramp partially blocked on I-65 northbound from the I-840 exit. Laverne in Rutherford County accident with the center lane blocked on I-24 westbound at the Waldron Road exit. Hendersonville still got that crash out there at Highway 31 East, Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, just past Indian Lake Boulevard and Drakes Creek, and still have a crash in East Nashville at Main Street North 8th. And out in Jolton in Cheatham County, an accident reported by Metro at I-24 westbound at New Hope Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, 8:18, Nashville's Morning News. And, yeah, the phone lines are open. Sam, get to answering the phones if you could. 615-737-9986. By the way, this whole thing, you also had not only the local sheriff, but you also had the local DA who signed off on this, and also a judicial commissioner. Now, this is, again, and Sam, you've got some clarification of the law.
Yes.
You as having a big-time interest in the news. Sam has turned into our legal on the show, Jones. So clarify the law. What have you found?
So in the detail of this law that was put into the criminal code last year, it does clarify that means of communication means direct and indirect. So, even if you're not intending for a direct communication, it can be perceived that way, specifically social media posts. And then it comes down to a very interesting little line. As a condition of bail or other pretrial release, the court may, in its own discretion, order the defendant to undergo an evaluation under another Tennessee state code that allows that to happen to determine whether the defendant poses a substantial likelihood of serious harm to the person, to themselves or others. And then when it comes to the reporting, when people were saying that they were worried about this thing being posted, the report must include, to the extent known by the reporter or the amount of people reporting it, the nature of the threat of mass violence, the name and address of the person making the threat, and the facts requiring the report, and any other pertinent information. So if you scare enough people with something like that, you are subject to this law.
Yeah, and that's what it seems like to me. Phone lines are open, 615-737-9986. By the way, like everything else today, Joan, our call screening software also
you gotta be
not
kidding.
working. So who's on line one?
Line one is Michael from Mount Juliet.
All right, Michael from MJ. Go ahead. What do you think?
All right, so here's my question. We complain that there's not enough gun regulation. There's not enough this. There's always these school shootings. So now people are saying, oh, he didn't mean it. He didn't mean nothing by it. But what if he did?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Michael, you're absolutely right. And you're making the case. I'm doing this as, again, we report, you decide. But had I done this as an actual topic where I give an opinion, that's exactly what I was going to say. What if this guy did come back and do something reprehensible at the school?
Right, and that's the thing. You can't have it one way and not the other. Like, you want to enforce things, but you like, oh, well, no, it was just a meme. It was harmless. Yeah, it was harmless until he actually does something. I think the guy knew exactly what he was doing.
Yep.
You don't go on to, and I guess that county has a kind of a name that's kind of common because there's a Perry, Georgia as well. Mm-hmm. So unlike Mount Juliet or Brentwood, there's certain names. I get it. And, you know, he was trying to be funny, sure, but could it also have been taken seriously? Absolutely.
Well,
and I think that
and Michael, if the local community knows that this guy's a crap poster. Oh, and by the way, he also used to be a cop. So I agree with you, Michael, that he knew exactly what he was doing. And, you know, what FAFO, mess around and find out? I think he did, and he's sitting in jail. Now, my thing is that we got a couple more calls real quick. But my thing, again, a couple of things can be true. Number one, all right, so there's enough evidence to show that he should be, the law needs to take a look at this. But having him sit in jail for, a couple months and him not being able to get a court date to have his $2 million bail reduced until December 4th, that, my friends, is some kind of BS. Let's see, this is, who's on line 2?
Thomas from Murfreesboro.
Thomas from the borough. Hey, Thomas, go ahead.
Yeah, the guy knew what he was doing, and, it's all BS that but the thing is, he's in a small town, and a lot of the judges are on a circuit, so it takes a while for a judge to get there from other counties to hear the case. So, no, it ain't BS that he's sitting in jail.
Two months? 2 months?
Yeah, but there's people in there with a lot less sitting there a lot longer.
That is insanity. That is, oh gosh, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Who's on line 3? Last call. I know the phones are going crazy, but line 3, last one.
Ken from Lebanon.
Yes.
Hello? Ken? Yeah, hey, Ken, go ahead.
Yes, society these days, they're just running up to the line, and they're doing whatever they can do just to grab attention. And, we have law enforcement, and we have rules set in place to protect the public. And I think this guy, absolutely, whatever his bill is, he knew what he was doing, and he should suffer the consequences of it. He knows he's probably not going to be persecuted, but then again, everyone needs to see what's going on in our society now. There's a lot of violence that's going on, and just like everything that's happened in New York, there shouldn't even be people on the streets. If they want to protest, they should protest on the sidewalk. There should be guidelines for people to do certain things, and whenever they cross that line, then I think that they should be made an example, and that's what's happening here. So yes, absolutely, his bail's at $2 million. That's fine. Let him sit there and think about it, and let other people see what the consequences are whenever you pursue actions like this. That's my thought.
And that's a great thought. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, 824, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. That's a great story. I love that story. Number one, it's local. Number two, Joan, there's enough gray area there.
Yes.
Where, people always have, something really insightful to say. And I love what the first guy, I like what everybody said, but the first guy, what would have happened if he had posted this and then he did something horrendous? Then everybody would be up in arms. Why did anybody do anything? It was right there. The proof he was going to do something was right there, right? That's what people would say.
Yep.
So there is such a thing, especially after, right after Charlie Kirk is assassinated. There is such a thing as proceeding with caution and doing everything you can to prevent another horrendous tragedy. And so if somebody is dumb enough, again, FAFO, if somebody is dumb enough to do something like that, I don't think that he should be sitting in jail for a couple of months. I think that's rather ridiculous. But if that's, the guy was saying where judges, I guess, have to, do a circuit, so they go from one county to the other. Is that how that works?
Well, that surprises me.
Yeah.
But, if that could answer the questions about why he's been sitting there for so long or will be sitting there for
Some
so
of our
long.
judicial districts have the same judges across multiple counties.
So a judge literally, they have to...
Like a traveling priest.
You're kidding.
Yep. And then rotating dockets. And then different counties within that district can have different jury selection calendars, and they can have different months that they try cases and months that they don't try cases.
With all the attorneys that we have in this state,
Right.
They can't get one to be a judge out there in Perry County. Although it's probably, it's a non-budgeted expense, and so they only get the judge maybe, a few times a quarter. That is so... Okay. No. Hey, Joan.
Mm-hmm.
Next time I tell you I want to commit a crime, make sure it's not in a rural district where I'm going to sit and jail for a couple of months.
You should probably commit that crime right in the middle of Nashville.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'll see a judge right away.
Right.
All right. Or you know what? With the soft on crime policies, they won't even charge me for
Probably
a crime.
won't.
Mm-hmm. It is. Let's see here. 826.
In your heart.
That's not the right one. Whatever.
Nothing's working this morning. Even Dan's fingers.
Shut up, Phil. All right. It is 826 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Well, President Trump is coming home with more than just trade deals from his Asia trip. Wait till you hear what the South Koreans have just presented to him. That's coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here and DT McCall's. This is a great Tennessee company. They are here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, great selection, and value as well. Now, I've been telling you for years about DT McCall's. They've been helping people out for now 4 generations. And if you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's, one of my favorite places to go here in Middle Tennessee. If I need furniture, if I need appliances, they are always my first call or my first click. So if you've got a room to fill, go to DT McCall's. If you need appliances, if it plugs in and you need it, they've got it. They've always got specials going on to save you money. One of the things that I always do, and you're probably the same way, something breaks down in the house, you realize you need a new oven, you need a new washer, dryer, dishwasher, whatever. First thing you do is you go online. You see who's got what specials. Make sure you go to dtmccalls.com. They are always offering specials, great prices on all the best brands of appliances and furniture. Check them out. They've been at it for over 100 years with a focus on customer service. And if you buy it, they are going to deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, Franklin, always online, dtmccalls.com.
Good morning, now 8:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The roads are a mess, and we will detail those coming up here after the news. Stick around, though, and take your time heading in. In the news, President Trump making some progress on trade deals. Fox News' Lucas Tomlinson on his successes in South Korea this morning.
President Trump has arrived here in South Korea with all the pomp this country can muster, including fighter escorts, the red carpet, and just moments ago, President Trump announcing that the U.S. and South Korea have inked a $350 billion trade agreement. Of course, the United States is South Korea's second largest trading partner.
And also in the pomp and circumstance, South Korea has awarded him the country's highest honors, which comes with a gold crown and gold jewels. Now, his final meeting on this trip will be with China's Xi Jinping, and he's hoping to strike deals on trade, stopping fentanyl exports into the U.S., and buying soybeans from U.S. farmers. The president expects that meeting will take up to 4 hours to complete. Tennessee death row inmate Harold Nichols has filed a lawsuit over the state's preferred method of execution, which is now a single lethal shot. He's due to be executed in December. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
But he has 2 weeks to choose his method of execution. His attorneys have now requested records on the state's lethal injection protocol, but they say the Department of Corrections has denied that.
Now, Nichols was convicted of raping and murdering 21-year-old Karen Pulley in Hamilton County in 1988. He was also convicted in a string of rapes of other women. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Looks like we are going to add to the big jump in the stock market yesterday. The Dow Jones Industrial starting off here at 144 points higher. NASDAQ is up 170. We've got the S&P 500 index plus 22 points. That's the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:35, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Mark Spain Real Estate. Love these folks. They've been helping people here in Middle Tennessee for years. You can skip the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly. With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, there is no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Now, I always recommend Mark Spain Real Estate to my friends and family here in Nashville because I trust that they are going to sell your home hassle-free with a strong all-cash offer. As a matter of fact, Mark Spain Real Estate is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. They've got over 13,000 five-star reviews. You can trust my friends to sell your home fast and, yes, for maximum profit. Mark Spain Real Estate, they were ranked on the Inc. 5000 list of the fastest growing companies in the U.S. for now the 8th year in a row. They respond fast, and they are one of the most experienced real estate teams here in Nashville. Check them out online if you need to get out of your home quickly because you found your dream home. You can call them. You can call them 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. You can also find them online anytime. Get that guaranteed offer. It is Mark Spain Real Estate, markspain.com. That's markspain.com.
Okay, let's start you off on 24 this morning in Laverne, westbound side at Waldron Road. A crash takes out 2 left lanes. Also this morning on 24 westbound in Antioch, there's an accident that takes out the right shoulder at Hickory Hollow Parkway. And also in Antioch Pike at Harding Place. Watch for an accident there. In Joelton on 24 eastbound, right at New Hope Road, there's a crash this morning, exit 31. Now traveling on 40 in Sylvan Park at White Bridge Pike, Briley Parkway West. That crash is the right entrance lane blocked off by it. You've got 40 eastbound in Capitol View, a mess this morning. The right lane blocked off at Church Street by an accident, and in South Nashville on I-440 eastbound, just before I-24 exit 7. The crash there taking out the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, Chris actually made it to work today.
Can't believe it.
I know. And Joan, I wish you would have told me.
I had a bookie calling me, telling me to take a fall.
Joan, I wish you would have told me that it is like, 5th grade picture day here at the radio station. Because that's what Chris looks like. Chris looks like today. I see you in your little green plaid shirt and your vest that you were wearing earlier. And you do. It looks like 5th grade picture day. I mean, I'm not saying you look bad.
You know what I'm hearing?
Peanut butter and jelly.
I'm hearing jealousy.
Yep.
Oh, a little jelly? You think I'm jelly? Because I literally, people on the super text line have actually said, Dan, why do you wear the same thing like every day?
Dan is like Doug Funny, the way he wears the same outfit every day.
Who is Doug Funny?
A cartoon character from the 90s.
Oh, okay. Very good. I do. You know what? And here's the funny thing. Is that Amy and I went to Green Hills Mall like 6 months ago.
To buy new clothes.
I don't think I've worn any of it.
Damn, why?
Because I get up so early. And she's not awake, so she can't tell me what matches.
Oh, my gosh. You need Garanimals?
No, what she needs to do is put my clothes out for me the night before.
We need to get you one of those Instagram ads with like the thread box where you get new outfits every week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you decide what you like and what you want to keep.
Sure. Yeah. You ever do that, Joan, with, what is it? Stitch Fix is what women do, Stitch Fix.
Stitch Fix.
I've never done it.
A little rent the runway for you, Dan?
No, you rent the runway? What does that even mean?
You've never heard of rent the runway?
No.
Oh, you like rent big designer dresses.
Well, I don't need any big designer dresses, Chris, but thank you.
It was a joke, Dan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shut up.
Shut up.
It has been a hellacious 24 hours in my world, but we'll move on from there. And the last 4 hours, man, nothing's working.
But I will say this: as soon as I walked in, Sam said, "No, stuff's getting back up and running for your show."
Yeah,
Chris.
I find that very interesting.
Sauce.
All of a sudden, Chris comes in and everything works.
I said, "What's wrong?" He said, nothing anymore." Glad you're here.
Fact partially true.
Do you know what I think? I think that what happens is that the company understands that, these kinds of things, they build character. And apparently the company believes that I'm lacking in character.
You have to build some character.
So they need me to build some character, it would appear.
That's hilarious.
So, which is fine. So the great news is I didn't break anything.
It's
like
good.
Sometimes when these things happen, you get a little frustrated. You maybe, throw a pair of headphones against the wall. Maybe
slam a door into a TV.
That's exactly right. You know all about that, Joan. So,
oh my gosh. Never live it down.
She was so angry.
People were
that day.
saying it was because you were screwing the brackets in on the microphone too hard. Everything stopped working.
Me?
Yeah, you.
You do that a lot. We'll catch you.
This thing?
Tighten in the brackets.
So for people that are listening on the radio, I have a really bad habit.
It's like Dan is like a baseball player when he steps up to the plate, the way he adjusts everything.
Yeah.
Dan's doing his hat. He's twisting the screws.
Sure.
Watch him on Super Talk TV. You should watch Dan right before he cracks the mic and says Super Talk.
Oh, they also take over-unders on how many times that you will adjust the screws in a given show.
You know what? It's a nervous thing. I do because I know it's tight. I know that it's tight. I don't know why I do that. I've always, this is a joke that goes way back. I never really know what to do with my hands. And so I'm just, I'm always adjusting. Well, you got mad at me yesterday. Do you remember what you got mad at me yesterday for, or is that RJ?
That was RJ.
The new guy's already getting mad at you?
Yeah. You know what he said? 'Cause I was
What gives him the right?
I was interviewing somebody, and
No.
I was playing with my pen, and RJ says, dude, we can hear the pen clicking. So I stopped clicking the pen, and then I started adjusting the screws again.
Wow.
This
Dan,
is what it's like around here, man.
I think we need a psychotherapist.
Do you know what we need? I used to have a stress ball that I loved. I need a WTN stress ball so that when I'm on the air, I've got something to do with my hands. I need 2 stress balls.
Okay. Don't hand me no lines and keep your hands to yourself.
That makes no sense in the context that we're talking about. What's your name again? Sam?
Oh.
But that's okay.
We get you a Chinese finger trap.
Sam is busy.
That'd be fun.
What did you say?
A Chinese finger trap.
What is that?
A Chinese finger trap?
You never.
No.
Where you pull and you can't get your fingers out, but if you push in, then you can get them out.
Oh, it's like quicksand for your fingers.
It's like a thatched weave.
You know what a Chinese finger trap is?
He knows what it is. You need to show him one.
I'm old and I'm confused. I don't know what to tell you people.
You'd be if it was on your fingers.
There you go. Chinese finger trap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember those from, grade school and so forth. By the way, Sam is arguing with people. You know why nothing works? Sam is arguing with lawyers. Did you know this? What's your name, Joan? So Sam is arguing with lawyers on the YouTube chat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because we're talking about something, and just for the record, I did not throw out any legal philosophies or anything during my storytelling of what is going on in Perry County. Sam is over there because his parents are attorneys and he knows a lot about this stuff. He was throwing down some case law, and some dude in the YouTube chat.
Throwing down case law.
Yeah.
I happen to be a bird law expert myself,
And so Sam starts arguing with some lawyer, and in this YouTube chat. The best part though was when. Do you want to tell him what you said? Your mic drop moment. What you said?
Well, he said I need to go get a law license and then he'll debate with me. And I was like, you can't debate with me now. I didn't give any opinion. I just read the law, so argue with the book.
Well, and he also said, any real lawyer
is at work at this hour.
That was a great line. So I've got to remember that.
I love it. That's hilarious.
Okay, so apparently there is a story out there about monkeys with hepatitis.
Well, yeah, not just hepatitis.
Angry.
And they're aggressive
Yeah.
monkeys with hepatitis, herpes, and COVID.
Now, for the record, I would be
the hep herp cove triad of doom.
I would be angry too if I had all that stuff.
I'm shocked they don't have the pox though.
Listen to this and make sure we got the video.
This morning, 3 dangerously aggressive monkeys are on the loose in Mississippi after a research truck overturned. 21 rhesus monkeys were being transported from Tulane.
Did you say
University.
racist monkeys?
Rhesus monkeys.
Rhesus, okay.
So does that mean
I didn't know if this got incrementally worse if the monkeys are also racist.
Listen, but it's okay though if they're sick and all that because they've got the Reese's peanut butter cups to make them
there you go.
Feel wah-wah.
21 rhesus monkeys were being transported from Tulane University when it overturned on Interstate 59 in Jasper County. 6 escaped and 3 are still unaccounted for. Officials say these monkeys carried hepatitis C, herpes, and COVID. University officials stress the animals are not diseased or infectious.
Wait a minute.
Okay. All right. You got the herp dog, got the COVID, and you got hepatitis C. Don't worry. Officials are urging you to get your booster.
This is
where
how they get you to get the booster.
Is this where the monkeypox thing comes in?
No, we're not allowed to talk about monkeypox anymore.
Law enforcement, they say these monkeys are dangerous. They need to be handled using personal protective equipment. The search is ongoing, and people are urged not to approach these animals. PETA released a statement saying this escape is an example of the risks of the, quote, greedy monkey experimentation industry.
Big monkey.
Big monkey.
Big monkey needs to be brought to its knees.
Big primate.
Yeah. Primates for profit.
So Mississippi. So theoretically, they could be headed eastbound through Memphis towards Nashville, right?
Oh, yeah, they're on their way.
So what we need to do, we need to have like a super blockade, like maybe right at Dixon, like Dixon Line or whatever, so that they can't come through, into our neck of the woods.
I'm just going to carry some bananas.
I feel like these monkeys get besmirched. We get one missing zebra in Middle Tennessee, and it's weeks of coverage.
Yes.
Children's books are produced.
Yes.
It's stunning and brave. These monkeys escape captivity after being injected with some of the worst diseases out there. And they get 45 seconds on the local news.
I want to know if I did the right thing or the wrong thing yesterday.
Did you roll down your window and give a herp-infested monkey some money or a ride?
No. Neighbor's dog gets out, right? This is completely off this topic of the monkeys. Neighbor's dog gets out, and he's running around the neighborhood. And these Bandit's just like this. I've given up on when Bandit gets out because my fence is like literally falling down. So there's a little place where he gets out. I told Amy, I refuse to run after that stupid dog anymore. So if he gets eaten by a coyote,
he's on his own.
Or bitten by a COVID, herpes, whatever the other one was, infested monkey, that's on him.
Hepatitis C.
But our neighbors were running around trying to get their dog. And I said, honey, why don't I just grab a couple of hot dogs and run outside, and the dog will come to me if I've got a hot dog in my hand. Right?
The neighbors see you coming gallivanting off the front steps
armed with glizzies.
I was like, I'm assuming it's more than one in each hand, and you're running full speed.
The glizzy grenades.
We're waving them dogs.
Well, that's how I got Bandit back years ago, and so I just thought, honey,
so let the record show you are no longer willing to waste hot dogs on your current dog, but you will waste hot dogs on the neighbor's dog.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I will. And Amy's like, don't go running out with the hot dogs again.
Again?
People are still talking about it from the last time in my hood.
The Ring camera videos are getting posted on the neighborhood Facebook page.
But I wanted to help save the dog. And I wanted to run out there with the hot dogs. And I thought it would be the neighborly thing to do, and she wouldn't let me do it.
Local man attempts to save dog with hot dogs.
Listen.
I bet you there was a similar story in Mississippi after the monkey truck crash.
People running around with hot dogs?
There's some hero who's being held back by his wife.
How do you get a hepatitis, herpes, COVID-laden monkey to come to you? That's what you need. Come here. Come on, little monkey. Oh, my goodness. But she wouldn't let me do it. She wouldn't let me take the hot dogs out. And I said, okay, honey, that's fine. I hope my neighbors found the dog without any help from me and the hot dogs.
If there are missing posters tomorrow that start popping up around the neighborhood, are you going to say we didn't have to live this way? Are you going to say that to Amy?
I'll say this whole thing could have been avoided if Amy just would have let me bring out the hot dog. I'm so dumb. Anyway, what else is going on?
Not much, man. But I liked the monkey story.
That is a weird story. So have they found the other three? Joan,
there's
do you
still
know?
one missing, as far as I know.
I haven't been on the monkey story, quite frankly.
I want to know, like, how do you wrestle a hepatitis, herpes, COVID monkey? Like, how do you
shoot it with a tranquilizer from a long distance?
Shoot him with a tranquilizer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Trank gun. I would have gone with real gun.
Yeah. If the trank gun fails, then the real gun.
Yeah, but then they would need more research monkeys to be shot with the herpes and the
How much do you think that costs to inject a monkey with herpes? Or do you think that there's injection being done, or did they inject one monkey and then kind of turn them loose?
Have fun?
Yeah.
I don't know. Right, because if you just inject one monkey and then let him turn loose, you're saving all of that herpes fluid.
That's pretty like Doge would approve.
Doge would approve.
Only inject one monkey and then let nature take its course.
That's exactly right, as opposed to injecting, 10. So I don't know.
Monkey commingling.
Yeah.
Do you think it's easier to spread herpes among the monkeys or COVID?
They put masks
Herpes.
on the monkeys?
Herpes. Are they masking the monkeys?
Are they masking the monkeys? I don't know. Whatever. Can I ask a question? Like, okay, so herpes has been around for how long?
Ever?
How is it possible?
Ever.
How is it possible we don't have a cure for herpes yet? Like, I mean,
big herpes.
Do we? I don't even know.
The money's in the research, Dan.
In the sure, or in the monkeys, whatever, one of the two. Yeah,
Maybe that's what they're working on.
maybe so.
They were this close. Then those
Okay, now
monkeys
here's
got
my
out.
question. Is there like one monkey that has herpes, hepatitis, and COVID, or do they each have their singular thing?
I was operating from a standpoint of they all had everything.
See, that just kind of is not nice. I mean, I'm as much of a research guy as the next guy, but really, all three? I'd be like,
can we pick one?
I'll take like doubles of COVID, right? That's what I would want. I don't want hepatitis. I certainly don't want herpes. I'll just take, doubles of COVID.
Load me up on the vid, Doc.
It's exactly right. Well, it's been a great segment.
It has.
I thought yesterday's was a lot better.
Someone has
frankly.
the crowning achievement of you trying to help your neighbor's dog inside.
Oh, yeah?
Dan with fistfuls of wieners.
Did you know that some of the monkeys were killed by police?
What?
Well, they were probably aggressive.
The officer said they were told that the monkeys were carrying diseases and posed a threat to humans, so they killed them. Wow.
Well,
God
okay,
bless them.
but here's my question.
Yeah.
And if you want to do a moment of silence for the monkeys, we can. But what part of that statement wasn't true? They were aggressive and they were diseased. And now how they got aggressive and how they got diseased, apparently is not up for discussion. They just decided to shoot the monkeys. So
They have an animal disposal firm on the scene to remove the carcasses of these animals.
Mm-hmm.
You got to clean up everything, right? All the splatter, too.
They were probably armed with their own fecal matter.
No. They do. They would have to clean it up because if another animal came and ate the debris, the monkey debris, or they licked the blood of said monkey, then
It's Cheerios time
You're
in the
gonna have-
morning. Come on.
There's
Here,
going to be
let's put
hep
a
and
bow on it.
herpes-loaded bunny rabbits and squirrels.
That's exactly right. This is like how Planet of the Apes started.
animals-
Mississippi's off my list of places to visit.
The animals rights group PETA has issued a statement, by the way. They say the crash is the escape of these monkeys is the result of the greedy monkey experimentation industry.
Yep, big monkey.
You know what's
Big
going to happen now, though, is they're gonna have monkeys riding horses and speaking English really quickly. There,
Yeah.
Those damn dirty apes.
All right, we got to go. 8:56, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan, what's coming up?
Flight delays are expected to get a little worse today, and we'll tell you why coming up at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. It is 8:56. The Wellness Institute of Nashville. These folks are awesome. They helped me with my chronic back and neck pain many years ago. They can help you as well with the Big Daddy Trump special, $12 for a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. Again, only $12 for that comprehensive exam, x-rays, that diagnosis, and that first treatment. It is the Big Daddy Trump special. Now, they are experts in spinal decompression, no surgery, no spinal injections, and no painkillers. So if you've got back or neck pain, sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, they can help you at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com.